Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roundtable Podcast Live. Let's get rid of this break screen. For today, February 26, 2016, we are a three-man team today. I am joined by myself, Northern Lion, and Rockley Smile. And, well, Fox is kind of here in spirit, as you can see, but not properly here in spirit.
He's just on the camera overlay still?
No, you'll see. Yeah, you'll see what's going on here in a minute.
All right.
Everybody's saying crackle. Is it me?
It's probably just XSplit. It handles itself.
Okay. Well, I can't.
Oh, that's a picture of a fox.
Yeah, it's a straight up picture of a fox.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what the I can't fix it right now. Hopefully,
just give it a. Wait, you using OBS?
No, XSplit.
XSplit? You just.
I love XSplit.
Wait like 3 minutes. It'll sort itself out.
All right, crackle's gone. Oh, it worked. Excellent. Okay, cool. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming by today. On the docket, we have a very strange yet small kind of list of things we want to talk about. It's been kind of a slow week news-wise, so bear with us. The Pokemon 20th anniversary has come with a new announcement of new Pokemon games. We have a why you shouldn't buy games on the Windows Store for all the things that they tend to lock away. Battlefield 5 has been leaked as a World War I shooter. Talk a little bit about the Hitman beta and SUPERHOT and whatever else decides to come to mind. That's the docket. So hopefully it's one that can last us at least an hour. Goal is an hour. That's my aiming high.
We can talk. We can shoot the shit for a couple hours.
Have we ever talked not for an hour?
I don't know. There was one time I feel like, I don't know if it was an hour, but I remember Bear was like, and that's the show. And we were all like, wait, what? We're done?
Apparently I'm quiet.
I was seeing that too.
I can raise Skype volume separately here.
See if Nick's quiet. If Nick's quiet, then Skype or XSplit need to come up in the volume mixer.
Here, I'll boosted you guys up by 25 more.
You know what we can do? When we get down to the end of topics, we'll open it up to the chat, and they can do a chat submitted question or something like that, or topic.
Am I okay now? Hello. Now I'll shout really loudly.
Perfect. Good. There we go. We're all set.
I'm excited for 2 weeks from now when the Roundtable Podcast is just like a script that makes the channel go live and then 4 still pictures of us. And then or 2 still pictures of us.
Nobody's around. We just can't be bothered. You're going to be gone soon anyway for a couple weeks, I think. So
yeah, we're just in the finalization stages for that, but I'll probably be away for probably 2 roundtables in March.
All right.
Is my thinking. And that's good. I'm going to get away from the internet for a while.
That's a smart thing to do every so often.
Recharge. Maybe like once a year. I love the internet a lot. Once a year, I need to be away from it for longer than a couple days.
Do you take do you take like a day off, a week away or whatever to step away, or?
Very rarely, actually. It's really easy to get self-indulgent and be like, yeah, I work all the time. But no, actually it's a terrible habit. But yeah, I pretty much work 7 days a week.
You don't even go out of your way. It just sort of happens. You start building a schedule around certain days, and then you push something you need to do to a day you don't have another obligation, and then all of a sudden you're working every day.
Yeah, I mean, NLSS is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Kate's streams that I'm on are Thursday, Saturday, Roundtable's Friday, Substream on Sunday, and then you only have Tuesday. And then you got, you could take Tuesday off, but I usually use that day to record a bunch so that on the streaming days I don't have to record.
That's when you get the long stream in.
Plus, I have,
exactly.
I have programming on Tuesdays, so it's a busy time. But
I think it's just a problem of not just YouTubing, but just work. Like if you work from home in general, just having work always in the next room. You're like, well, I'm not doing anything, so I might as well do work. And you just kind of fall into that problem.
Next room, it's literally a foot away from my bed. I would roll out of bed into my chair, and that's where I stay for most of the day.
Exactly. It's a dangerous thing. But again, I think it's just everybody who has a home office or whatever.
Yeah, it's good to take some time off for sure.
Yeah.
I actually prefer to work 75 days straight and then take 15 off.
Yeah.
But I know, a lot of people prefer to take, 2 days off a week or something like that. Goes both ways.
Yeah, makes sense. For those asking, by the way, Bear is still going to be taking some time, and Mr. Fox himself is taking some time as well. So if you're all wondering where Fox is, I keep seeing people wondering. He's around. He'll be around soon enough. Don't worry.
Yeah, he might be back next week. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a new thing every week. So I want to talk about Pokemon, guys. Who wants to talk about
Pokemon?
Why not? We'll hold the 2 games that we've played to the end because you've yelled at me before. So I'll keep those at the bottom.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sticking to formulas.
I'm gonna try and keep it. I figure we might as well the thing that we probably have the least to talk about, Pokemon, might as well knock out now.
Well, you probably saw that amazing trailer, right?
I did not see the trailer.
All right, I'll sum it up for you.
I'm ready for it.
It's 2 minutes and 55 seconds of small children high-fiving each other because they traded Pokemon, and then 5 seconds of them showing the new titles of the new Pokemon games. There's no announcement other than the picture of the titles.
It's a Pokemon Sun and Moon, okay? That's going to be the 2 new games. I guess the cool thing outside of the fact that they're releasing I don't know if they're releasing all of the old Pokemon on the eShop for Nintendo, is that all Pokemon caught and traded on those versions can be traded into the new game. So you can
cool.
bring them into the newer game, which is, I guess, nice, but it makes you have to play all of them all over again, I guess. I have been out of the Pokemon scene probably the last Pokemon. I tried to get back into it with like Pearl and Diamond. I just did not. I think the last one I played hard was like Silver and Gold, like the second wave.
Silver and Gold is like 99 2000 or something. And Pearl and Diamond is like 08?
Yeah, like 2 generations ago now.
Pearl.
So Sun and Moon, does that imply they've got like the Boktai style sun sensor and you can only play it during the day or during the night?
That'd be awesome. Or like playing during the day on the sun one makes your Pokemon more strong.
You know what? That would not be awesome.
It wouldn't be awesome at all.
Let's stop trying to give... Nintendo's already, not that I'm shitting on Animal Crossing, but up its own butt with this, say, hey, play our game between the hours of 9 and 5 or everybody's going to be asleep in your town.
Hey, look, that's not true anymore, man. I play Animal Crossing once or twice a week still. And there are people up at like 2 a.m. that wander around like fishing or catching bugs.
Yeah, but what if you want to go to the store? They're like, come back during the daytime.
You can, in the new one, you can set an ordinance that stores stay open.
But
later.
Like for an hour, right? Like
it's like a couple hours, I think.
I've got a job already. I don't need the game to be my job 2.0.
I don't know why they won't just let you offset the clock by whatever time you want. I don't see why it makes a difference. It's still a 24-hour time cycle. Just let it be plus 8 hours.
You can in Animal Crossing. Oh, no, I think it's based...
Clock,
oh, the system, yeah, not the game clock. Yeah,
I don't want to have a broken system clock so I can play Animal Crossing. I don't understand.
Red, Blue, Gold, Silver, Diamond, Pearl, Sapphire, Ruby. Wasn't Sapphire and Ruby before Diamond and Pearl? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, it was. Sapphire and Ruby were the GBA ones.
Yeah.
Diamond and Pearl were the first gen DS, I think.
Yeah, that's the one I tried to get back into it. My problem with the Pokemon series as a whole, I guess, like trying to get back into it, is that it just hasn't evolved since the original. You like it? Yeah, thank you. I keep hitting B to stop it from evolving, but it really hasn't done anything new since like the original, outside of little things like adding multi-Pokemon battles, slightly not slightly. The graphics are much better as time goes on, but like the gameplay is the core. It's rock, paper, scissors, and they really haven't done anything else.
I have not played a Pokemon game since Pokemon Yellow, actually. So, that's taking it back to like the same era, almost as Gold and Silver. It's like 98 maybe.
Yeah.
But for me, it's kind of, we talked out of our asses about Street Fighter V last week.
Yeah.
And none of us knew what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's almost how I feel about Pokemon, is I'm at the point where I'm like, I can't talk about it because it's been forever. And I don't know what the Pokemon community wants out of a game.
That's also true.
Like, for me, if I see a game, I'm like, it's Pokemon. But then people are like, the special stat no longer has the same relevance it had in the last one. So yeah. I'm just like, I'm now like old man shakes fist at cloud. Like, I don't know. Pokemon community, you tell each other what you want, because I'm outside.
I apparently stole that opinion from Nerd Cubed. I didn't know that. I'm sorry, Nerd Cube. Didn't mean to steal it.
He copyrights all those opinions. You can't do that.
I didn't know that he even had...
You get a C and D.
God damn it. I stole an opinion, apparently. But as far as, like... I guess there's, like...
coffee down, man. You're holding your coffee the whole... What are you doing with... This whole time, he's holding his coffee.
Product placement for... Tan Coffee. They sent me a bunch of... Well, somebody who works there sent me a bunch of stuff, and it's delicious. And it's in Canada somewhere, so... You probably could get, like, it's cheap.
It's in Canada somewhere.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
Tan Coffee, Windsor, Nova Scotia. That's, nothing wrong with Windsor. It's a long way away, though.
Yeah, it's cheaper to ship it to you than probably to ship it to me.
I don't know, maybe. Yeah, it's possible. Here's the website popped up. and you know how Google will automatically like grab a blurb?
Yeah.
This coffee is smooth. It's like 19 O's and has no bitter aftertaste. What is your secret?
It's great. Coffee's great. I'll definitely say that much. But back to Pokemon and off my coffin.
The last Pokemon I played was Platinum, I believe. That was the conglomeration of Gold and Silver?
That's right. They do those like
or Pearl and
merging.
Omega Sap.
Was Crystal Pearl and Diamond? Crystal might have been Pearl and Diamond as far as I know.
I can't remember which generation it was, but it was one of the double ones that I played together. So I'll wait for whatever it makes when you combine a sun and a moon together. Like I'll play as that.
Is it Pokemon Dawn or Dusk or something?
Pokemon Black Hole Edition.
There you go. I feel like we need to get Kate in here. She knows what she's talking about.
Diamond and Pearl, sorry.
Yeah.
Kate's into Fire Emblem right now, so
I know right now, but she still probably has more knowledge than us.
All she wants to talk about is Fire Emblem.
Weren't there 2 Fire Emblems that got released?
That's another thing that I don't fully understand. Yeah,
really?
There's like 3 Fire Emblems that got released.
Oh, okay.
They're all telling a concurrent story.
Does one leave off and the other pick up where it left off?
I think it's so you can pick like 2 directions of a storyline and then decide which is canon or something. Like 2 perspectives on the same story.
Wait, did it's like the neutral game, and then it comes to the point where you decide, and then it's like if you want this one, you got to go buy that game, and if you want the other one, you got to go buy that game.
Fire Emblem left, and then I'll work my way over.
See, Kate said she could talk a ton about Pokemon right now.
I don't think there's much to be said about Pokemon.
As far as like gameplay changes are concerned, I think like people are yelling these like mega evolutions now in chat, and there's like shiny Pokemon, whatever that means.
You've had shiny.
They've had shiny. You never seen shiny Ponyta?
I had a shiny Wingull. It was the happiest day of my life.
I don't think I ever caught like a Wingull in my life. All right, that's fine.
It wasn't actually.
Pokemon, like my opinion on this news as an outsider, it's been like 2 years since the last Pokemon, right? Seems about right.
3? Sure, maybe
3 somewhere like that, yeah.
I was definitely living in Vancouver, so it was sometime between like 2012 and 2014, the last Pokemon came out. So you know what? It's been long enough.
All right. Well,
isn't the real question though whether or not I guess it's not for us. I was gonna say whether anybody cares. Clearly, people.
No,
care.
yeah, the game is still like one of the biggest franchises of all time. It's just
how long can they make the same game?
I just
forever, apparently
they'll make another Metroid eventually, man.
Whatever a shiny means.
They've given up on Metroid. They're celebrating everything but Metroid.
Yo, they got their like the end of Metroid when they made their magnum opus Other M, and that was
and then the stupid ball game, whatever the hell, I forgot what that was called.
That's fine.
Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah.
Super Monkey Ball.
Ignorant as fuck.
Look, whatever. So Pokemon 20th anniversary. Did anybody have like I remember for me, like last bit about Pokemon. Me and my brother always got like I got one, he got the other. And the one I remember being so excited about was Gold and Silver because it was the one that brought in like certain Pokemon only show up during the day or the night depending on what time it is. And I was like staying up like all night on Christmas night just like waiting to catch all the nighttime Pokemon. That was like the last time I played super hardcore and I loved it. But that was also when I was like 10. I don't know.
I played a lot of Pokemon when I was 10. I'm not saying it's a game for 10-year-olds, but that's where I was in my life when I played it. And I read a lot of Pokemon strategy in Nintendo Power.
Okay.
And I did a speech on Pokemon when I was in 5th grade.
You did a speech on Pokemon?
I did a speech on Pokemon in 5th grade. Introduced Pokemon. I started the viral Pokemon trend, in my opinion. And I had a poster on my bedroom wall that was framed that was the original 150 Pokemon.
Very nice.
And I had some Pokemon cards.
There's like 700 and something now.
That's too many. Too many to remember. I have a Pikachu Pokemon card that's a promo from E3. I have no idea how I got it, but I looked it up and it's worth like $6 still to this day.
Damn.
My last experience was everybody at GameStop getting obsessed with it, all the other workers. And it sort of became like, if you're going to be spending time here in this job environment, you've got to at least be able to know what the hell everyone else is talking about. So you buy whatever the newest one is. The other thing was we had access to those little boxes, the little white plastic boxes that let you transmit the secret special Pokemon that Nintendo give you the permission to send out. in your Wi-Fi radius. So like it's kind of like you're collecting super special stuff, right?
Yeah, it sounds like
And
it. Yeah.
you have access to it, so why not take advantage of that? I guess.
What did Kate just drop off?
I got this bad boy.
Oh shit!
God.
The yellow
It's
Pokemon.
It's a Game Boy Color,
Game Boy
isn't it?
Color.
It's messing with the lighting. I'm gonna cover the screen. But yeah, it's a Pokemon Special Edition GBC.
Damn. How
It's
much
got
is
a
that
Jig-
worth?
It's got a Jigglypuff and a Togepi
Not
on this
much.
side.
Put it in a
and there's
frame.
like
You'll sell it for
a
millions.
Pikachu
Why
over
are
here.
the buttons different colors? Was that the way it was made? I don't think it was.
That is the way it was made.
Oh,
This one at least. The power button is a Pokeball.
Shit.
This was actually I was playing Pokemon Yellow on this. Great memories.
That's
I thought I'd seen those traded in. I thought they had black buttons.
You know, somebody probably took the buttons off to keep them and sell them later, and they gave you their jerry-rigged
super limited
gray
edition.
buttons. Here, I'll look it up. Yeah, this one, it came with Pokemon. Well, it didn't come with Pokemon Yellow. Pokemon Yellow came with it. It's very limited.
Are you gonna get the new
edition.
ones for Kate? The new like Pokemon 3DSs?
We have enough 3DS, is my opinion. But if Kate wants to get them, she can. We can discuss this. But we have enough 3DSs.
Just throwing ideas out there, Kate.
Pokemon Yellow version special Pikachu edition new $379 plus $72 shipping.
Yeah, they make their money off the shipping mostly.
What?
Damn. That's a lot of money for shipping.
$379 for Pokemon Yellow. What's going on? Okay, here we go. Amazon.com limited edition Game Boy Color Pokemon Yellow edition, limited Pokemon edition. $799
For sealed. It's two things. It's for sealed and it's not gonna sell at that. So
Yo, this is not sealed.
No.
This is just something that exists.
Pokemon Bling 2.0.
somebody's still gotta buy it.
Yo, that's crazy, man.
That's just the list price. Doesn't mean anything.
It's a
till-
list
till it
price
sells.
on Amazon though.
They
It's not
sell
like-
user stuff. They're customers that resell.
Yo, I just got my golden Mega Man amiibo. How's that much sell for?
Kate also got one of those.
Are you gonna play all the Mega Man games that it came with?
Possibly. I mean, I really like Mega Man's 2 and 3, and to a lesser extent 1, 4, and 5. I could probably beat Mega Man 2 in like an hour and 20 minutes at this point in my life, I think.
That you know it that well?
I beat it on my phone while I was taking shits at my old job
Nice.
with the numeric pad. So
that requires talent and patience that I will never have. Well, that's Pokemon. 20 years of
wait,
it.
how much is the amiibo worth?
Oh, I did. The only one that's popping up is like the bundle, and you can buy the bundle on Amazon for like $70. $73.99 for the bundle collector's edition for the 3DS,
Did
and I got it
anybody
for like
have-
$40.
Did anybody have Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy Color?
I think I played it, but I never owned it.
It
And I think
came
was
with a
friend's.
AAA battery in the cartridge to power the
It had an
Rumble Pack.
accelerometer, right?
Yes,
The tilt function.
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think if it was Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance. I think it was Game Boy Color, and it powered the Rumble Pack, but I can't remember.
Yeah, maybe it was a Kirby game that had an accelerometer. Some
one
weirdly
of them,
shaped
yeah,
parts. I remember that stuff.
when they were trying to get all fancy with their shit. Yeah, I never had it though. I've played it. My friend had it, but I never owned it.
That was every year when I graduated from whatever grade I was in public school. Oh, Kate's got the.
Kate's got
great-
everything.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah,
I
there it is.
remember that
Play
shit. It
battery
fell over
cartridge
in the
there.
case every time I put it in to display it.
Every year when I graduated from whatever grade I was in public school or middle school, my parents were like, "Hey, what do you want as a gift?" And I think I graduated from like 6th grade, and they're like, "You go into you're gonna be in like middle school next year. Do you want like a special present?" I was like, "Nah, I want Pokemon Pinball with the AAA battery pack in the back."
Kirby Tilt and Tumble.
Yep,
That's
that was
what it
another
was.
one.
Not Tilt and Trouble.
What about
That's my
Pokemon
game.
cards? Were you guys into Pokemon cards?
No,
I was
I
hugely.
played Magic.
Very, very
cool kid.
slightly.
I collected them like it was my job.
Oh, these are AAA's. Those won't work. All right, that's okay.
I would forego my allowance and have my mom buy me booster packs instead.
Well, some things never change.
That's true. That's true. Actually, I remember Christmas. I got like 3 boosters and I opened one. I don't know if I told the story before. I probably have. and I got the holographic Venusaur, and within the day, I dropped my Charizard like tin case on it, and I punctured it the same day, and I was like freaking out.
What you do is you put that up on eBay and say it's a factory misprint.
Just make bank off of it.
Exactly. Oh my God. Okay.
All right, here we go. Jesus Christ.
This is a Squirtle limited edition Pokemon card tin that I got when I was in like 5th grade. Let me crack this bad boy open. See
what do you got in there?
For the love of God, please.
There's a plastic bag. There's a Pidgey right there.
Oh damn.
Oh, hey, you guys will like this one. Okay, Nick, even you'll like this one, man.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so these are not Pokemon cards, but back in like the late 90s, when they re-released the Star Wars films in theaters, they came. Oh, this is like a huge spoiler if you haven't seen the prequels. Let's go over something from, or the originals. Let's go over something from.
Oh no, don't spoil the prequels.
Well, I mean, it was like the pivotal moment from the prequels, or the sequels. Sorry, the originals, whatever. Here you go. You got like, there's an Empire Strikes Back card with the Abominable Snowman on it.
Oh,
nice.
It's just all glare.
No, it's the.
Oh, okay, there it is. Is that the thing you cut open and sleep inside?
No.
Oh.
Wait. Oh no, that's he's right. Oh hell yeah, this one was like my
now.
favorite shit right here, man. This X-wing one right here.
That's a good one. That's the redone CGI X-wings.
So long. Are they like 16 by 9 cards?
They are. Man, yeah, like I would describe this as like the size of like a pocket mirror or something like that. These are not
weird.
These are not 30 years old. These are like 20 years old from the special editions. Man, what a waste of fucking money.
Kate says, "Show your foil Pokemon cards, please."
I'm not gonna show them. Nick will kill me. I'm just trying to see if there's any dope ones.
For every Pokemon card you show me, we have to play an hour of Resident Evil 5.
That's ridiculous.
Let's play Magic, man. We cracked an expedition the other night.
That's actually like that foil. I have Ugin Expedition.
Yep.
That's nuts, man.
That's what I got. I was pumped.
It's seeing a huge play in Modern right now.
Is
Anyway,
it? Nice. Anyway, so that's Pokemon. 20 years of it. We have cards and fond memories of it. What is that one? Oh, Yoda. Nice.
you will be. You will be.
Let's move on to something maybe a little bit more serious, I guess. How's that? I'm getting super serial. Nick, we'll have you start the conversation on why we should not be buying games on the Windows Store.
For the thousands of you
who obviously do it. All right, listen. It was a slow news week.
It's a PSA, man. This is stuff that you should just know.
Hang on. Oh, what do you got? What do you got?
That's an hour.
I can't see.
That's a foil of Hitman Lee.
Oh.
Resident Evil 5 confirmed.
Is that where all these weird Hitman, like Hitmonlee and shit, like
Hitman
retweets are coming
Chan.
from? Hitman Chan.
Hitman Man.
Hitman.
Hitman Man and Hitman Chan are different versions of the same morph.
Yeah, they're
Hitman
lovely.
Chan.
I love them.
Oh, man.
So, if you're not aware, there's a thing called the Windows Store where you can buy games.
Video games.
You knew this? I think you've known this for a while. So it's been around for a while. Nobody really cares that much. But it came up recently as a point of contention because they've tried to revamp the Windows Store for Windows 10 to make a big fuss because obviously with Windows 10, everything should be amazing and because you're basically going to be forced to use it eventually. So the thing is, the new Tomb Raider game, Rise of the Tomb Raider, came out in both Steam and also on the Windows Store. This allowed the ability to sort of cross-reference the abilities that are and are not on one or the other. There were actually quite a few that brought it to stark contrast. Apparently on the Windows Store, and these are features that are sort of hard-coded away, and they're not sure they're going to ever be possible to be fixed. There's no SLI or Crossfire. VSync is always enabled. You're always going to be running in windowed borderless full screen. Sorry, those are not the same thing. Borderless full screen. Yeah. There's no modding, so because it's locked away, like you can't touch the exe file because there is no exe file apparently. You can't run overlays, mouse macros don't work. There's no clear refund policy either. So like there's a lot of problems with buying a $60 game for the same value you could get it on Steam. You're losing all of this stuff. To what gain? I'm not really sure.
That's really weird that you don't get the exe. It sounds like it sounds like you said, it's more like locked away and like renting you the ability to play.
And there's not even a good way to have support for it either, because apparently the developers have been using the Steam version to give support on the Windows Store version, which is extra stupid. So people that have problems can't even really get them resolved either.
It's really weird.
So, just I guess keep this in mind if you buy anything in the future from Windows Store, because it sounds like this is going to become a bigger and bigger part of this online digital games economy. You might not get all the features you would normally get. I think that's a bit of a problem. What do you think?
Yeah, I am curious who's buying stuff from the Windows Store.
Yeah, that I think that'd be my question too. Like, how much of a market share does it have?
I'm assuming that it's people who are not very game savvy, and maybe they're on like a Surface or something like that, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not saying this is a good thing, but I'm kind of like, those aren't the people who probably care about SLI or, VSync or something like that, or the modding community. I mean, like looking at the highest selling games right now, you have like Minecraft Story Mode, Lara Croft Go, Bloons Tower Defense 5, Wheel of Fortune, Skip Bo, Angry Birds Star Wars, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So, I mean, and a ton of hidden object games, which is fine as well. But, yeah, I wonder if it's like, if the people who are watching this are too savvy to have fallen into this trap to begin with.
Probably true, but I guess just as they maybe gain a little bit more market share in the future, I guess it's good to know that this is going to be a thing.
I mean, if they're going to be putting like big AAA releases on there, and people are, the people who are into PC AAA releases are probably going to have Steam, there needs to be a reason for the person to opt into the Windows market or the, Windows Live market as opposed to the Steam market. And I feel like there's no benefit right now, especially like you said, if they're locking away all this stuff and not allowing you to touch it. Why would anybody buy Tomb Raider on that as opposed to Steam?
It's just clearly an inferior version. They even say here that because you're using always this borderless full screen mode, it doesn't ever give your video card exclusive access to the game, so you're not getting the best performance, because it's basically always being able to be alt tabbed out of.
Yeah.
So, if you care about performance, which you probably would, I think that's a bit of a problem. Also, you can't really record the screen because it doesn't allow overlays, so stuff like Fraps doesn't work.
You'd have to use something that's like capturing the monitor, which is
I'm not sure if that would work with OBS either, so like that might be a problem.
Shadowplay would work. I know that.
Shadowplay, yeah.
But I mean, those kinds of things also come with their own problems, because like for Shadowplay, for instance, records at a variable bit rate. So the audio desyncs constantly, and you have to send it through Handbrake to resync up the audio with the video before you can even do any editing with it.
That sounds lovely.
I avoid it as often as I can. The only good thing about Shadowplay is that it's way, way less resource intensive than like Fraps or even XSplit.
I thought TB kind of liked Shadowplay, didn't he?
It's good when it's not desyncing the audio. And it doesn't work with everything yet either. And it's still, I think, considered in beta. But
weird.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not. I avoid it for the most part because of the audio desync, and it doesn't always audio desync either. So I have to go and like watch it and see if there's audio desync later on in the video or not.
Couldn't it compress in certain places and like expand in others? Because that's what my my very first capture device did, my Hop Hog, and it like ruined so many recordings. So I didn't realize it would do it until like after 10 minutes or so.
Oh,
and
really?
then little bit like every minute or two after that, it would like add another second. And so there's basically no way to resync the sound unless you went and cut it up for like 40 minutes.
Oh, that's bad. That's awful. Yeah, it doesn't do that, because as long as I send it through Handbrake and say Handbrake, constant frame rate at 60, everything syncs up perfectly. Yeah. That's really weird.
No, I threw that device away after I had
I would too.
Like, no. I got an Elgato, and then that also had its own problems.
Never had a Elgato either. Console recording. Not my thing.
It's not as easy as you'd think. You don't generally just plug things right in, and then it's just there it is.
Is that why, Ryan, you've never finished your Bloodborne series?
Yeah, I mean, like it's just annoying to record from consoles. I get that it's like a joke, but also at the same time, it's like the amount of overhead required to record from consoles is like quadruple.
And outside of the fact that you like move things around and make things all set up properly before you can even do it.
Right. Yeah. Like I would have to, like we have one PS4. And Kate uses it to stream a lot, and sometimes we have it in the living room. If I wanted to record Bloodborne, I don't really want to take over Kate's office every single time I want to record it, so I'd have to move it into my office, and anyway. I mean, they are excuses. Everything in life comes with an excuse that is basically like, I don't want to put in the effort and time to do this. And for Bloodborne, I don't want to put in the effort and time to do that. Yeah. But Dark Souls is going to be on PC, so Dark Souls 3, I should say. So the barrier to entry is going to be pretty low.
which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Prefer it. Well, as far as buying stuff on the Windows Store, like you said, I don't think anybody who's PC savvy is going to be doing it.
Chat
At least
just
not right
mentioned
now.
Killer Instinct, which is supposed to be coming out on PC next month, and that might be Windows Store exclusive because they would do that,
Microsoft.
wouldn't they?
Yeah, they
And
might.
that makes me really sad because I
would they
really
though,
want to play that.
Would they though? Because they're really gonna bring their like sales far down if they don't put it up on multiple platforms, particularly
Maybe
of
they
course
don't
Steam.
care. Maybe they think this is their leverage.
When is Killer Instinct supposed to hit? Is there a release date for PC?
It's next month at some point. I don't remember the day.
I'm just seeing if it's
Yeah,
on
we
like
know
a.
about Quantum Break also, which is also what they're going to try to use to leverage you to get DirectX 10 and Windows 10.
Quantum Break.
Sorry, 12. I meant.
I still know nothing about that game outside of the fact that it still exists, and
There's
it's like
Quantum in the title, so that's cool.
it's like time manipulation shooter aspects. I'm not entirely sure. That's a game that got announced, people were pumped for, and then it disappeared quietly into the night, and that was the end of it.
I feel like it's well, I'm not a business analyst. I feel like it is bad business from a generalist standpoint to give people an excuse not to buy your game. Because like it's so easy to just not we get like 30 codes a week for games. We don't need an excuse to not play them. I know
Right.
we're kind of like in the extreme camp there. But like, yeah, Quantum Break looks good. Oh, it's going to be like Windows Store exclusive on Windows 10 or Xbox One. Well, I guess I'll play one of the other 40 games that came out this week instead, is what I think of it. But for the people who are like super into that David Cage style, oh, sorry, that's not David Cage, that's Remedy, right?
It's a Remedy game, yeah, but you say David Cage style, does it look story-esque? I don't know.
I don't know. I got it confused with the other David Cage one.
Okay.
But you know, for people who are super into that, like I guess Remedy track record of stuff like Alan Wake, like I guess you know you have to decide if that compromise is worth it. But for me, it's like just as someone who's kind of like interested in it, I just don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I hopefully like they got paid enough for the exclusivity to make it worth it. But as someone who's just kind of casually sort of interested in it, I'm like. It's enough of a hassle. We'll barely play shit that is good through Uplay, and we know it's good.
Uplay
Right.
is, oh man.
If Killer Instinct is Windows 10 exclusive, that's going to be such a damper for me. That was like the only thing I wanted to buy an Xbox One for. I actually really like Killer Instinct, and I got to try it at Ryan's house. I thought it was really good.
I heard
They
that.
just added a ton of new characters. I just want to play it.
Yeah, I heard the Killer Instinct game was great. Like the tutorial, I guess, to teach you how to play it's like
Yeah.
incredible, which is something I need
But I'm
for
not
fighting
going to
games.
fucking change my operating system to play one video.
Yeah,
game.
that's
exactly.
yeah, no.
Fuck off. Who
Yeah,
thinks
no.
that's a good idea?
I won't be doing that either. I will not touch Windows 10 if I don't have to. It's like but what about Minecraft for Windows 10? No, no.
How about
thank
this?
you.
I'll
We
pay an extra
especially can't.
$10 to let me play it on my actual operating system.
What was that, Ryan?
We especially can't
Right.
just because it's such like that is the underpinning of like our careers is like being able to record stuff.
Yeah.
Like on the YouTuber Maslow hierarchy of needs, it's like audio video looks okay and recording software works and doesn't desync. And then you can worry about all the other shit.
Right.
Changing your OS like affects all of that. So you're like,
pain
yeah,
in
I'm
the
gonna
dick.
Be
do that.
adding a month's worth of like nightmares and freaking heartburn over this crazy shit that you don't need to even bother for one game. You're just not going to bother.
I think we're quite a ways away though from having like the necessary push to Windows 10. I think we've got quite a few years before we even need
And
to push
all
to
the
Windows
push
10.
they're trying to give is artificial, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Give me positive reasons, not giving me like taking away reasons from something else that says, oh, now you should go over here. Or like you wake up one morning and they decided to push an update to Windows Update, and all of a sudden you just have Windows 10. What
I
are you
actually
trying to do, guys.
I had to manually stop I have Windows 8 from updating because there would be times where I'd wake up and my computer was just off and I was like I was rendering stuff.
Yeah.
And like something went wrong with the update and it just crashed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, that sets me back like 3 hours. Awesome. So I won't let it update because I'm afraid that it's going to be like, and now you have Windows 10. Congratulations. Like, oh, fuck
And
you.
before anyone corrects me, they really were pushing that as a prioritized update. People were
Yep.
automatically downloading Windows 10. You can turn it off, and they weren't automatically installing it, but it was ready to go, and it was pushing it forward like, okay, it's time to get Windows 10. Here it is. So even if it's a good operating system, I just hate that they're forcing it on me. That's all.
I'm assuming with this Windows Store thing though, like if it doesn't end up selling games well, it'll end up going by the wayside and they'll go back to like a normal game distribution platform, hopefully.
But like they just went through games with Windows Live, right? And that
failed, and it's down. It's done.
So now they've started up already on the wrong foot with the next service they're trying to push.
Yeah.
What's the thought process there? I don't get it.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know why they would lock away silly options like that. It's weird.
I mean, my expectation is that Windows or Microsoft in particular is in a bit of a weird place in that from their perspective, maybe why shouldn't they have a proprietary store? Like Apple has a proprietary store.
Which I can get behind. I can understand that. The thought process is, why are you locking away all these features?
I mean, I guess if they want people to use the Microsoft Windows Store as opposed to like giving 30% or whatever they could negotiate as their cut through Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, I guess it's integrated because Microsoft's line of products, it does cover phones. Well, I guess the Windows Phone's not really moving a whole lot of units anymore, but Surface tablets, Surface laptops, the Xbox One. I guess Microsoft doesn't make its own proprietary PCs or desktops, but I get that maybe that gives them kind of like a unified storefront. When you look at the stuff that's selling through Windows Store, that's selling really well, you're like, this is
not made for me.
It's not made for desktop gaming mostly. Sure, Rise of the Tomb Raider's on there. Apart from that, you have, a port of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Lara Croft Go, which is basically like a minimalist puzzle game, Minecraft Story Edition, Plague Inc., tower defense game, mobile Spartan Strike, the Halo game,
right,
and a couple of like game shows and card games, and then like hidden object games. So, like I guess from their perspective, they're like, well, maybe this is worth it to sell it on Surface tablets instead of like, I don't know, just going with the Google Play Store or something.
I have to wonder if it's just a limitation of the way they set up their infrastructure, that they meant it to be more oriented around the more casual stuff, the hidden object games and such. So when they made those restrictions around how it handles the opening of executables, they just didn't really think too hard about what it means to be doing, full motion, 1080p, high def gaming. They just didn't orient it that way.
Right.
So maybe that's a thing they'll try and fix the infrastructure for. But at the moment, maybe it's growing pains. Still, you'd think they'd want to sort that out before they put it live in the first place. You want everybody advocating your service, not immediately finding objections with it. That's
right.
The thing.
I mean, they kind of come from a point where, like you said before, Nick, where their last distribution platform was terrible, so people are going to come in with a much more critical eye. And this is, I guess, not the right way to do it. But at the same time, like Ryan said, maybe they, most of their money isn't being made out of the AAA stuff. It's out of like the tablet and the mobile games and stuff, and maybe they just don't care. I guess my hope is that they're just not going to lock games like Killer Instinct on their store, basically.
Maybe it's just a positioning issue. Like, they just can't seem to write the idea that people that play games wouldn't have bought an Xbox One, right? So they think games happen here, and then there's also like some kind of crossover over here, but we're not really going to go all in on this idea. We're just going to let the games happen on the console. Like, they just don't understand the audience, perhaps.
I mean, in a way, like, why does Microsoft care about making... Maybe they feel like a game like Quantum Break means more to Steam than Steam means to Quantum Break. Maybe they're content to just look at it as an investment to help push either their proprietary software or Xbox Ones. And I mean, I hope that we're not in the minority in that, we have a piece of software from Valve that works okay most of the time. We have a product from Microsoft that looks just inferior, and I'm not really willing to get it just to play one game. Uplay has been a little different because there's like 8 games.
Right.
And Origin, there's like 1 a year. And like, I will compromise. I guess everybody has like their own line there. But for like just Quantum Break, I don't know.
I have had this computer that I think I built this in like October 2013, and I only just installed Origin a month or two ago. I forgot that I didn't have it for like a couple of years.
Look, I'll give Origin this over Ubisoft. It works most of the time. Ubisoft
Uplay is so bad.
It fucks microphone levels, the way the game works. It sometimes is just super slow. Uplay is awful. At least Origin works.
Kate and I you know, when we were playing Rainbow Six all the time, a typical play of Rainbow Six or session would be like, Kate gets on, she's like, oh, you're not online. So I boot up Uplay, still not online, close Uplay, log out, log in, restart Uplay, and then I'm like, oh, Kate, I'm online now, but you're not online. And then she has to go out of Uplay, and we just do this like table tennis back and forth until we're both online to each other. And then we can like send an invite to join the game. Probably about a quarter of the time, the servers don't work. That might be a Rainbow Six specific issue, but
you remember when we tried to play for that recording, right? It like unfriended you and then banned me from your friend list, and then we had to figure out which friends could friend the other friend to allow us to be in the same party together.
Every once in a while, it would make you blocked or like Bear blocked, and I couldn't invite either of you. And you're like, man, this is just trash.
Mouth to invite Bear, who could then see me, who would then invite Ryan, and then bring me in, and it was like a 5-step process to get into a game together.
And you'd have like a lot more. You'd have a lot more leniency for something like that if there was any reason from the consumer perspective for something like Uplay to exist. Like, it's not just a lot of the time I try to rail against like complaining for complaining's sake, and I'm like, oh, it's bad, but like at least it works. But at this, it's like Steam exists. Almost everything else just uses Steam, and it pretty much works. We have to like get a new piece of software, you know, set up new logins for it. It runs over top of something that's already a little resource intensive, and then it also doesn't work.
It's at least like EA was like, we have Origin, we're not going to use Steam anymore. Ubisoft's like, well, we'll sell it to you on Steam, and then you launch through Steam, and then it'll launch Uplay, and then Uplay will then launch the game. Like, if you want to use Uplay, just do what EA did and just sell it on your own platform. Just make sure your platform works. Don't make me go through 7 steps just to launch your fucking game.
If they're worried about DRM, Steam is DRM. So it's not like they're getting better DRM by using their own proprietary DRM, right? Like, they still have peace of mind in knowing that we're not stealing the game through Steam.
I really don't know. My only expectation, I don't know this for a fact, is that within Uplay, there's like the harness that they use to connect to every single game. Yep. Like, that's what they use to match people in Assassin's Creed multiplayer. Right. It's got the functionality they use for Rainbow Six, and that's why they're hesitant to just put it on Steam. Like, maybe it requires a lot more engineering to take that stuff out and then make it work on Steam. But it means that the problems that persist in Splinter Cell persist in Rainbow Six, persist in Assassin's Creed multiplayer, and you just like nothing ever gets fixed because of it. And
that's a rough one, because they could go systematically good if they got it all right, or they could go systematically bad, which is what actually happened. For interconnectivity.
It's the only one that I think of when I like cringe. Like, again, Origin works, Battle.net works. Like, those other ones that exist work. And I'm not against having multiple different platforms for different games. I understand companies want to make as much money off of their own games as possible. I get it. The only ask I feel is a simple one I think we all have, is just make sure the thing fucking works. And if it doesn't work, fix it or don't use it.
Every time they introduce a new proprietary piece of software, it feels like you're doing them a favor to even get into a game. So like you come in a down position.
We also just, Nick and I just got Glyph to play Atlas Reactor. And you're like, Ubisoft has the clout and EA has the clout to push for stuff like this. Am I really downloading like a Tryon Worlds proprietary game launcher to play Atlas Reactor?
And you know, that was all Cobalt had the clout to make me download that.
Exactly. And it got to a point where I was like, fine, I'll fucking download Glyph. And I'll set up a login for Glyph so we can play Atlas Reactor. But
it was really hard to activate too.
Yeah, but that game was actually pretty fun.
Game was fun. Yeah.
I haven't played it. I don't even know what it is.
It's out of alpha now, so it won't be playable for a while. But it's basically like, it's an isometric, imagine XCOM, but it's a MOBA. So you control one person on your squad, and your other units are also like other members of your squad, and it's basically who can get the 5 kills first.
4v4.
Interesting.
Like both real-time turn-based.
Yeah, simultaneous turn-based. You know what? It was more like a MOBA Frozen Synapse or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, that's cool. I can get into that. If it was like another XCOM-like game, I'm like, I can't. Not until I'm done with XCOM 2.
Too many, yeah.
It's playing one sit-down like mission of XCOM is a 45-minute to an hour endeavor, depending. After this, though, I am excited to try out Fire Emblem, though. I'm excited for Fire Emblem after XCOM's done.
I'm also looking forward to that.
Because I got the Fire Emblem that released a few years ago, and I enjoyed it. But
I heard Awakening. Yeah, it was awesome. But...
yeah, it was fun. But now that I'm like as into XCOM as I am, I'm like I want to keep that going. I want to keep that turn-based strategy itch going. So
and you built up those skills, right? You got the XCOM skills that are teaching you the strategy flow chart. You're using it in Darkest Dungeon.
I went from Blood Bowl that taught me like risk management, and then I went to Darkest Dungeon and then XCOM, which honed those skills. So I'm ready. I'm ready for Fire Emblem. I'm pumped. Well, I don't think anybody here was, but if you were thinking about it, try to avoid buying games on the Windows Store. I think it was the ending topic.
We'll refer you back to this video in a year if this matters anymore.
Yeah, that's true. We talked about it a year ago. The last kind of bit of news that has hit, that only hit today, was the Battlefield 5 has leaked as a World War I shooter. Which
apparently take it with a grain of salt.
Okay, apparently take it with a grain of salt. I kind of hope it's true, because the more broader topic I wanted to discuss here was back in 03, 04 maybe? Yeah, maybe 05, 06, early college for me. There was 5, 6, 7 years of World War II shooters. Like we just had World War II shooter after World War II shooter. The Call of Duties, that's how they started. We even had Battlefield 1942. World War II shooters were everywhere, to the point where when one came out, it was like the zombie games nowadays, where we're just I don't really give a shit. Yeah. Are we starting to come to that point now with the modern / near future shooter games, where they're ready to take a step back and say, all right, let's do something wildly different, whether that be World War I or going back to World War II, or doing something entirely different like a first-person melee focused game and making that kind of the thing. Are we ready for that? And do we think that developers are ready to start, I guess, breaching that topic?
I like the implications of it, because it means they don't get to rely on making fancy, flashy, meaningless gadgets anymore. It means they've got to take it back to the human element of what war is about, not about the spectacle as much.
Like the power suit that you get to latch onto yourself in the Call of Duty games?
I think we can all agree that the last, 3 or 4 Call of Duty games have all basically looked like Halo.
Yeah.
Right? And the last few Halo games have looked like Crysis. So we're kind of entering this realm where all the games have merged together into one weird gelatinous goop. And it got to the point where just the other day, somebody had put a host up on a Twitch channel. I didn't know what was coming, and I saw this game. I was like, is this Call of Duty? Is this Halo? They're all the same to me now.
They all look very similar, yeah.
It took me about a minute to figure it out, and then I remembered, of course, I could just look under the freaking video window, but I was trying to figure it out by my own mind. I didn't know what I was looking at. So, yeah, I think we need to get back to something that can put a little bit more intrigue into the concept. The sci-fi thing, we tried it for a while. It's a trend. It comes and it goes. We did the zombie thing. We'll move that out for a while. Try something else.
Well, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready for the zombie thing to move out.
Maybe the zombie thing's never really going to go away, but
it doesn't seem like it. But I'm ready for it to go.
It's outlasted many things. But I agree that I think World War I would be an interesting topic to broach.
I'm excited. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm of two minds about it. I am positive about it because anything that's different is, I think, at least gives it a chance to be more interested. Like Nick, I have fatigue for modern shooters at the point where I'm like, we've done Titanfall, and even though Evolve was mechanically interesting, it also had that kind of near future kind of gadget focused aesthetic thing going on. Halo as mentioned, Call of Duty as mentioned, Battlefield 3 and 4 as mentioned. I'm just at the point where I'll play almost anything else. That being said, I don't really too much care about a single player campaign in a shooter, and I feel like implicitly my assumption is that the most interesting stuff to mine in a World War I shooter would be kind of that, an interesting narrative approach to take, yes. I guess. But if they could make it work, then that's cool. I think it's worth a shot at least. It's a risk, which I think is just something that's fairly laudable, considering how stale part of the genre has become, at least.
Well, I wonder if the reason people moved away from World War II shooters, I assume, is because they stopped selling as well. I feel like you said,
we're oversaturated.
Risk management obviously is huge. So if to make the jump to modern warfare with Call of Duty 4 initially, What spurred that? Why did they decide that was what they wanted to do? And my only, like I said, my only guess maybe is just the World War II shooters were oversaturated, like Nick said, and they just weren't selling as well. But isn't Call of Duty like still breaking records and selling incredibly well? I wonder if that's something that, and even
Yeah, I thought the last year's one was the best-selling game or something of 2015, wasn't it?
yeah. So I wonder what would cause, if this is true, why they would decide. And I know this is not Call of Duty, this is Battlefield, but still, why they would decide. You know what? Let's do fucking World War One now.
It seems like a huge. If it's done, and again, we should take this with a grain of salt, but I guess we're talking about it on a more
hypothetical level,
conceptual level. Yeah, exactly. Because in World War One, if it doesn't take place in like an alternate history, I mean, everyone talks about like trench warfare. You could probably get around that. You're not just gonna have people sitting in a trench like firing at the other trench,
Fire,
or like
reload,
doing like a suicide charge into a Gatling gun over and over. Probably it's not going to be that engaging for people. You also have like very limited like vehicle mechanics.
Yep.
You know, you don't have really airplanes coming in or things like that. So it would be I'd be really interested to see how they would make an engaging multiplayer game work there.
Have you guys ever played Brothers in Arms?
The old one, which I loved.
Yeah, I also loved that. Believe it or not, I actually have a soft spot for some military shooters. It's just they've gotten so oversaturated, I kind of forgot to care about them. But the concept of Band of Brothers and Brothers in Arms is based on HBO show. You get to know and care about all the people in your command, so you feel the weight of when one of them dies, it matters. And that's the thing, if we could take this to an XCOM level, make you care about the troops again, because everyone in all of the games for the last 10 years has been completely disposable, and the most we remember them is if they have a silly name like Soap McTavish. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I think like you said, bring it back to a human level is important. One of the things, though, as Brothers in Arms did differently is it was like part strategy. Stream's down? I've dropped 0 frames.
Your Skype is about as bad as it looks possibly to me.
Hello, do I sound like a robot to you guys?
No, you guys are fine to me.
For Ryan, I hear him rough, and well, both of you actually.
Nick looks good to me.
Okay.
Sounds terrible. Mathis looks horrible and sounds worse.
I have dropped 0 frames. Did you understand that?
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay, so I don't know. It's telling me dropped frames detected, but then it just shows no dropped frames. I don't understand.
Like a suicide charge into a Gatling gun.
But you guys can hear me.
Yeah, you're all sound perfect to me. So
I sound perfect to you?
Yeah.
You both sound really bad to me.
It's got to be on my end then, because you both sound and look perfectly to me.
What? I did a speed test actually, and my connection was looking good because it was kind of dropping a little bit earlier, but
it's got to be on my end. I can bring the stream down and up and see if that helps.
Maybe Skype just decided to steal all your bandwidth all of a sudden.
I'm not running like anything. All right, I'll be right back. Well, you guys, I won't lose me, but I'm gonna tell them. Rebooting stream. 1 sec. It shouldn't affect the recording.
Maybe we should rehost the call as well.
Okay, sure.
I can call you back.
Let me stop recording. And we're live. We're back. Possibly fixed. Sorry about that. I was saying off camera. It's like
the camera's working fine, lady. It's okay. We'll fix it permanently later. Thank you.
If I apologize, we're not. Whoa!
Camera's fine.
Apparently, it is not fine.
Camera's fine.
All right, what do you want to do?
Advanced setting.
Okay.
Here.
Usually, it's I just replug it and it works fine. I don't know what happened though.
And now Chad sees it.
That's
Did a
okay.
suicide charge into a Gatling gun.
Suicide charge into a Gatling gun.
Wait, don't. If you had my webcam there, it's gonna.
No, hold on.
I feel an incoming disconnect.
I don't know, man.
We're 50-50 so far without Bear, everybody. Technical difficulties on half of them.
I mean, we can just keep talking.
I'm fine, yeah. So, go ahead. Who was saying something about shooters? Somebody was in the middle of discussing something, though, I feel like, and got cut off.
It has to be after stream, because iSplit doesn't even recognize.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, we tried.
I mean, I know what causes this issue.
That's fine.
Because we fixed it before. The problem, yeah, it either gives you this or it gives you the lag is the problem.
Super hot. Super hot.
Oh goodness.
This is normal to me.
Mr. Green Man, bring me a dream.
For our audio listeners, if you don't know what the hell's going on, Ryan's camera looks like he's just glitching out of the Matrix, basically. Just being split live.
No, don't bring me the spare camera, Kate. It's okay. It's the computer, not the camera. It's okay. I know what to do, but Matt, let's put up the overlay for a second.
Sure. All right, hang on.
Do something that's gonna mess
We're
up
not
your
actually
screen.
gone though. We're here.
Right. You guys keep talking. Give me a second here.
You're here
No,
to stare.
thank you, but this is not the issue. It's the camera drivers.
So
Okay, is the overlay up?
it is up. Yes.
All right, I will do this on my own then.
Okay. Cool. We will keep discussing about suiciding into a Gatling gun. Nick, continue. Oh, what I was saying was what I liked about, I remembered, it just came back. It all came back to me. What I was saying I liked about Brothers in Arms in particular is that it made you like care about the people. On top of that, though, it was interesting in that it was also like a strategy game at the same time because you were able to move and
you had to manage which group you sent people to and then which direction they flanked from, or if they flank or if they wait or what.
They came out with another one for the 360 and PS3, didn't they?
Yeah,
and it was
Highway.
And it was,
I have it.
Was it bad? I remember
it was not amazing. It was not awful, but I didn't feel compelled to beat it the way that I was with the original. Well, there was two on the original Xbox. I'm trying to remember the names now. It's
who owned the original? Because I feel like it initially wasn't Gearbox who did it, wasn't it? Brothers in Arms.
I thought it was. Oh, I'm thinking of what is the strategy game that is similar to Brothers in Arms but is not Brothers in Arms, made by Relic Entertainment? It is Company of Heroes.
Correct.
Also Men of Valor.
Men of Valor, Company of Heroes.
Oh no, it was Gearbox. So it went Brothers in Arms was Gearbox.
Wasn't it? It was not Gearbox at the end, wasn't it?
No, because then in 2008, Brothers in Arms Hour of Heroes came out, and that was Gameloft.
Hours of Heroes? That's a mobile game.
That right. The last three Brothers in Arms have all been mobile. All bad.
The
all been
last
Gameloft.
real one was the one on 360, which was Hell's Highway.
Well, there's Double Time. That was Wii though. So yeah, 360 Hell's Highway.
Talking about the last real game.
That's Gearbox. It's saying Gearbox here.
Yeah.
So it's been Gearbox all the way through. D-Day was PlayStation Portable. That doesn't count. Okay.
D-Day does not count.
Nope.
I didn't know there was such a storied archive of non-actual Brothers
There's a ton
in Arms
of them.
games.
There's
I thought there were 3.
no. There's D-Day, Brothers in Arms DS, Art of War, then just Brothers in Arms, which is a mobile game apparently.
God.
Then there's Brothers in Arms Hour of Heroes, Brothers in Arms 2 Global Front, Brothers in
Holy
Arms 3 Sons of War, all of which are iOS, Android, and Windows Phone
Heard
games.
of any of those?
2008, 2010, and 2014. So
The
one was not even
franchise
that
was
recent.
going strong for like 5 years past when I was acknowledging it.
That's
Yo,
crazy.
but what about Undercover Brothers with arms?
A spin-off waiting to be had. You're all missing Ryan just appearing on camera, glitching like crazy, and then just disappearing again.
Troubleshooting live, man. I'm doing my best.
It looks like when you're trying to play like an Atari 2600 game and you've got like the splitter and you're trying to get it to go between channel 3 and channel 4 and it doesn't have like a solid connection and his camera's just like vibrating left and right.
Can't take off the overlay, guys. Ryan is currently working on his camera, and removing the overlay would reveal like Skype names and shit. So don't worry. It's live. God, you got it.
One sec.
All right. Because I can't let you watch it for the reasons recently just stated, basically. And there he goes.
Give it a sec.
That's fine. Take your time. But I guess back to the point is that I'd be more than happy to see stepping away from the modern shooter. And like I would love to see a more personal story instead of like flashy, like Hollywood.
So here's the thing, they're addicted to that Hollywood money.
Because it sells, yeah, because it sells, exactly.
So if they took a step to make it like, imagine, oh my God, this camera.
This camera is actually
way
worse.
worse than it was
yeah.
before.
God. Continue.
wild.
They're addicted to the Hollywood money. Yes. Yep.
I completely lost.
I
my
know
train of
that
thought.
was wild. That was nuts.
I'm just gonna stare into space and it's
Today is a shit show. It's all right. It's fun. Not everything can be a goddamn home run.
Dooms podcasts this week.
use the worst camera, and then we put it on, and then people are going, seizure warning, seizure warning.
I'd love to talk about how I got into Overwatch, but I'm not gonna because nobody else here is in Overwatch. But
Okay.
anyway,
Here's the next possible. Nope, that's definitely still bad. Okay. Yep.
you what? You all right?
No, it's I don't think that's fixable here.
All right. Well, it'll be audio only then, because if I can't really adjust the camera angles without like revealing like Skype shit, which I'd rather not do.
Okay.
So
I
audio.
got one last move, but it is going to require me to restart.
We can just do it audio. I think we'll be fine.
Why don't you talk about something I don't care about, like
Okay.
What's my version of Magic the Gathering cards?
Pokemon cards? I don't
Too
know.
bad you guys talked
What's
about Layers of Fear
My
last week.
version? Isn't it Magic the Gathering cards?
What do you not care about, Ryan?
Move along. I'll be back. It's got a solid state hard drive.
All right, yeah, that's fine. I will wait for you here, and we'll talk with
Okay.
Chat. Chat, what's up? How's Chat doing today? Ryan is an Undertale. His camera is an Undertale. We can talk about Undertale.
Yeah,
Nothing-
Undertale's all right. I dropped an Undertale reference in the NLSS yesterday. I said something was like baby bones, and Ryan didn't know what the hell I was talking about. It was the exact situation that Undertale was made to be.
It's not me. Don't blame me for this. This is not my fault. This is just technical difficulties,
There's
man.
been some problems with the camera for a while now.
Yeah, it just happens. Nothing I can do about it. We're not gonna talk SuperHot until Ryan comes back, and then Hitman Beta is between Ryan and Nick because I didn't get to play it, and there's not much. I can't talk really. Again, I can't talk about Overwatch because there's really nothing to discuss since Nick hasn't played it.
Are
So
we going to talk about Ubisoft? What do you think? What is there to talk about?
the terrible Uplay, I
The
guess.
non-controversy of when Far Cry beta codes went out,
Right?
or
Yep.
Far Cry press release codes.
Fuck on Undertale. No, I'm good with that. It happens, man. There's nothing we can really do about it. It's been a shitty week for news too. Like nothing happened. I mean, maybe that's not a bad thing. No drama happened, so that's good. We can't really discuss any
Well,
drama.
that was the only drama. Was like, Ubisoft's not giving away Far Cry codes early enough,
Yeah.
right? And then it turned out it was just like, no, we're just giving them out a week later than the console version because it releases 2 weeks later than the console version.
Yep, exactly. And Far Cry Primal, none of us have played, so asking us what our opinions on it.
Yeah.
We haven't played it yet.
I want to play it.
Yeah, I would like to play it at
They
some
didn't
point
send
as
it to
well.
me.
I hear it's not terrible. I hear it's actually pretty fun. I don't know how the PC port is yet. I haven't really gotten any research on that, but I picked up Stardew Farmer Harvest Moon thing. I haven't gotten to play it yet though. I have it.
Oh,
what
we're
are-
going to talk about the Vive price later.
we are going to talk about the Vive price as well, but that's something I want Ryan here for as well. Hey, Ryan, what's up? Welcome back.
Hello.
We've literally talked about nothing.
Ah!
Camera's still bad, Jack.
Whatever, man. I could put
It's
you up there with
still
a glitchy camera. It doesn't really matter that much.
Dude. All right.
I could talk about Danganronpa, but there's nothing else I can do. All right, we'll put you back on camera. Let's just do this. We'll move on to something a little bit more interesting. Nick brought it up and reminded me. We could talk about the Vive price.
Mm-hmm.
So, when the Oculus got announced, people fucking flipped a shit with the price. They were pissed. They were like, it's the ballpark. It's expensive. What, blah, blah, blah. People were even saying, like, well, we'll get the Vive or whatever. Now the Vive gets announced, and it's more expensive than the Oculus is. What is coming with the Vive when it gets released?
It's got those
It's got
wands.
everything it needs. It's got a camera.
Mhm.
It's got the controllers.
Mhm.
It's coming with Job Simulator and Fantastic Contraption.
Okay.
And
You played Fantastic Contraption, did you not?
Fantastic Contraption is really good. After we played it, we were like, hey, it would be great if this was bundled with the Vive. I think that's a smart decision.
And that is why they did it. It's not the camera. It's a driver issue.
Don't read chat, man. You host the show, okay?
Sorry.
Let me
very
troubleshoot
sorry.
the
Everything's
chat.
all out of control at this point. I'm not surprised that it's going to be $700. With what it comes with, I'm assuming what's driving up the price is the wands that come along with it. Like you said, you said the Vive feels more like a standing experience than the Oculus.
Yeah, 100% for sure.
So they're going to need a big room for it. But as someone who hasn't really researched too much, has there been a rather big backlash on that price? Because the Oculus subreddit in particular, when the price got announced, was a fucking disaster. People were pissed. Is there really
honestly,
that with the Vive or no?
I don't really follow that level of VR. I think people were expecting that the Vive would be the more expensive product because it comes with a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the Oculus, at least the perception, I think, is that it's basically just the headset. Whereas the Vive is it's almost like a piece of furniture. So
The other thing is they had said at one point that there was a certain price point they weren't going over with the Rift, and then they went over it,
They
so
said
that was part of
ballpark.
the outrage.
Yeah.
And the Vive, I'm not sure they ever quoted a price. So
Which is smart. The Oculus comes with like the Xbox One controller and like a couple games, and then obviously the Oculus itself. I'm interested to get my hands on the commercial release of the Oculus, because from people playing with the DK2 and then comparing it to the Vive, people have always said the Vive is like so much better. Everybody says the Vive is the future of VR, Vive. But I haven't heard really anything on the consumer version of the Oculus yet, so I'm curious if outside of the fact that it's got wands and it's like more of a standing thing, quality-wise, what the difference is going to be.
It's also possible that like they're comparing what could be a final version of the Vive versus what was the DK2, and now that we get the final version of the Oculus, maybe it can hang better with the Vive.
It's true.
I mean, it probably won't, but I mean, I'm getting mine next month. I hope so.
And
I'm not buying both though this year. I think two, sub $1,000 VR headsets is a little much for 1 year.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I'm assuming, Ryan, you guys are picking up the Vive.
Probably not, no. It's just we don't have the space for it right now. But it's probably the one I would be more likely to pick up. But it's kind of like inadvisable given that we live in a pretty small apartment. So
I should also say, because last time we brought this up, we got corrected. Apparently, the Vive is just as valid for a sitting experience as the Oculus is. Because I was misinformed about that. I thought it was generally positioned that the Vive was the one where you need a room for it, and the Oculus was when you're sitting in front of your monitor.
That's what I initially thought too, but like you said, the Vive can do a sitting experience as well. And
you can, but the controllers have the accelerometers for the purposes of like being able to move around in the virtual environment without having like the 6-way treadmill.
And don't they also need sensors positioned around the space too?
Yeah, that's what they have, like cameras you can put on the corners of the room that kind of model you within the space that the area is.
Dang. So I get, even if you were using it for a sit-down experience, it's really tailored for the full room then.
In my limited experience, I would agree with that, yes.
So I guess it's possible, it's just it really isn't the optimal way to do it. So I guess I'm still sort of right about the sitting experience being more tailored to the Oculus. It's just they both have both somewhat.
I mean, the real entry point, too, is going to be able to have a fucking computer that can run it.
Yeah.
That's going to be big as well. I know Oculus is already starting to bundle, like, VR PCs that are ready to run the Oculus with the Oculus itself. It's really, for the next couple of years, I mean, I think VR is going to be very much a niche thing. And it's going to take some time before we start seeing it in more homes outside of, like, really passionate enthusiasts when it comes to VR itself. I think we're in a niche audience for that.
We're still waiting on what the PlayStation VR is going to look like, what price point it's going to hit, and where it's going to fall with the power performance ratio, which is
that's true.
Interesting.
I'm very curious. I'm very curious how it's going to be priced, because I mean, these are all being priced at like mid-range gaming PC prices, right? Like that's what these like $600, $700, $800 are. Most people who have a PS4. Most people don't have like a gaming PC. So to put a ton of money down on the PlayStation VR headset is probably going to be a high ask for a lot of the people who own a PS4. I'm really curious what their price point is going to be and what it's going to be capable of.
Well, it's got to come with a freaking graphics card in a box to make it work with the thing, which has got to make it expensive. The VR headset by itself is going to be a lot, and then you're buying a graphics card with it.
And yeah, I'm curious what the quality of the headset's going to be as well.
So what if they came out with this thing and it's like, well, it's $550?
No,
Like,
it won't sell well.
Would be
then.
crazy then.
It won't sell, yeah, because most people who own consoles like you get consoles because you can't afford like a fucking $2,000 computer, right? Like when it comes to like an enthusiast, I don't see anybody who's gonna drop 500. I wouldn't drop 500 if I'm gonna drop 500 on a VR headset. I'm gonna get a Vive, or I'm gonna put up an extra $100 or $200, and I'm gonna get a Vive or an Oculus, because I can almost guarantee you that those are experiences, as long as you have a PC that can handle them, are gonna completely outshine the PS4 experience.
I don't see how they could compete, like, in any realm.
Right.
The PS4 is already obsolete in a way compared to PC gaming, so, like, why even go there if you have the ability not to?
Right. So, yeah, I would say, like, if I was to take a wild fucking stab at what the price of the PlayStation VR is going to be, $200, like, maybe $250.
But what could that get you for tech, though? For $200, that seems too low to really be useful. Unless they're subsidizing it, and then they're taking a huge hit for every unit sold, which seems like a really poor idea long term.
Right. So it's supposed to come out this year too, I think. PS4 VR is like the probably holiday, but I think it's going to be this year.
And we might get a new Nintendo console this year too. Oh,
that's
boy.
also true. Now I'm curious. Now I'm really curious what we're going to be looking at. All right. I'm very curious what we're going to get when it comes to PlayStation VR, and if it's going to be more. I don't want to say like, because sit-down experience is obviously not what I'm looking for, but how interactive, I guess, the games are going to end up being as well.
I just can't get over that it seems like they've strategically cornered themselves to the point where there's no probable answer. That's not going to piss a lot of people off.
That's true.
You're either going to get something that's like not very powerful or too expensive.
Mm-hmm. To be too successful. What's up?
Did I fix it?
You're not freaking the fuck out.
But it's done this a few times, and then
but this time now I got follow my face.
Nope. There it is.
Ah! Why do you do this to me?
Fucking drivers, man.
This is amazing. This is the best. This is the best podcast of all time.
I thought it was working.
I mean, well, it does. It looks like when you mess with it for like a little bit, it fixes itself for 30 seconds or less, and then it starts. It starts like effing itself.
Oh.
You tried.
You
did try.
Just fucking kill the cameras, man. Let's just talk.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Do you want to just kill the cameras, Ryan?
Use egg cam.
We wasted like 40 minutes and not talking.
We'll kill. I don't mind killing the cameras.
Put the overlay on for like 10 minutes and just do the rest of the podcast, and I will do the driver shit and talk in the background.
Okay, that's fine. So anyway, PSVR stuff. It'll be interesting to see what's going to go on with that. Ryan, do you have any input in that at all?
I have no idea how much PSVR is going to cost. My expectation is kind of similar to you guys, that it would be probably on the lower side as opposed to the higher side, like the Vive. I think what we're learning from the prices is that it's going to be a while before VR is anything but an enthusiast purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is maybe like a little bit high-minded. Okay. I don't know if the idea with something like the Vive or the PSVR is even to sell a bunch of units right on launch. I think maybe it's just to kind of get it out there and seed it as something that gets good word of mouth, and early adopters will get in and other people will eventually get that word of mouth and start to buy in when it gets to be cheaper. But
well, I can definitely see that with Oculus and the Vive. I'm curious why they would do that with the PlayStation, though.
Chad's saying it's got to be cheap, like $300 to $400. You do realize that's like the price of the console and more. So it's not very cheap for the people that are buying that. It's cheap compared to the other two, but I don't know if that's cheap enough to be cheap under most people's definition of the word.
It's definitely cheap comparatively. But it's definitely, I don't think it's. I agree that getting it out there and seeing how it works, I think that's obvious with the Vive and the Oculus. I don't understand if that's the goal with PlayStation. And again, we're all theory crafting here. This is, we have no obviously hard facts why that is something they would do on the PlayStation, because there's a very low chance we're going to get a better version of PlayStation VR on the PS4 within its life cycle, I feel like we won't get another better version of the PlayStation VR until the next Sony console, whether it be the PS5 or whatever. And at that point, like, why did you put out the PS4 VR in the first place? I don't know. It's weird. It's definitely
I feel
weird...
like, to a certain extent, it still all hinges on how the retail version of Oculus does. Like, if it comes out and it's awesome, then I don't know. I feel like you could probably charge $400 for the PSVR. Is anybody going to buy it? Yeah, not too many people. But I don't necessarily know if you can sell that low. Like, if you can sell the VR headset at $200 or $150, why wouldn't Oculus be doing that?
Right. I think the tech's just too expensive for it to be that low.
Right.
That's my perspective.
And Sony's subsidizing it, in which case they're going to lose a ton of money for something that might not make them back that much money in the long run. It feels too little too late already. It's sort of like the 32X for the Sega Genesis, and then the Sega Saturn comes out. Or the RAM expander for the N64, and then the GameCube comes out. Just wait till the GameCube comes out.
Yeah,
I think you can put the camera back on.
You think so? All right.
I'm going to give it a shot.
All right, we're back to cameras. The only stable performance so far today has come from Nick and Fox, and that is it.
I don't know, though. I feel like VR could take. We've tried a couple times.
I absolutely think VR is going to take in give 5 to 10 years. We're going to be seeing it as a much more common thing. I think the only interesting thing is PlayStation getting involved in that. Microsoft's getting involved with their HoloLens, right? Like, that's their thing.
Right, yeah.
Nintendo just isn't, and probably not going to, but...
Oh, or maybe they will. Maybe the NX will be Google goggles that you wear over your glasses, and then you can see Mario everywhere you go.
Google goggles over your glasses. I like it. Nice alliteration.
I was like a lot of people in chat are like, why do people care about VR? Like, it's just a gimmick. It is and it isn't. Like,
it's not a gimmick.
The best stuff will not be a gimmick. Right. That stuff that I've played that has been like transformative has not been a gimmick. Will there be a lot of shit like we had on the Wii where it was like, oh, you can move your remote and it makes like a hot dog appear in the air? Probably, yeah. But like, there is also the opportunity for like some really, really interesting work to be done. And it is like, it feels novel enough to be interesting. Like, the people who put down $600 for an Oculus are not just doing it because they're like,
ooh, this will be fun.
I want to ride roller coasters in my house, right? Like, it's more than that. But it's one of those things I feel like you have to try in order to know.
It's on us and everybody in the audience to not throw the baby out with the bathwater for this. Just because you can make a freaking picture in art and crayon doesn't mean somebody can't make a Mona Lisa. And to disregard it all immediately over that seems really too early, especially when we really don't have the experience to say so. I do really believe that there is something coming with VR, and even if it sucks for a good year, it's eventually going to get there.
And I don't even think, I agree. I don't think it sucks that much. Like, right now, as far as somebody who has had the DK2, which is the Oculus Development Kit 2, for those who don't know, for a couple of years now, and I used the hell out of it for the first year or so. My favorite aspect was watching people who weren't big gamers, family members and stuff, coming over and experiencing it, who, would be like, oh, VR, that sounds like, neat. And then trying it and being like, this is, like, incredible. Like, it's one of those things you have to experience. You absolutely have to experience VR to realize that it's not... Painted. It's...
Sorry.
Oh, chat. But yeah, no, it absolutely one of those things you have to try out because it really isn't like the Virtual Boy. Like people are pointing out, like it's not the Virtual Boy like from the 90s.
The Virtual Boy wasn't virtual reality.
It wasn't
be clear on that. It was freaking vector-based red piece of crap that had 2 freaking stereoscopic vision bits. It was just a piece of garbage. Don't compare those.
And some of the best DK2 experiences I've had are the ones that have completely like. One of my favorite ones was it was just a demo that came with it. It was like the Tuscan island or house or whatever. You're just like in Tuscany, basically, not the Tuscan Raiders house or anything, if that's what you're thinking.
Tuscany.
And you're just like in this house and you get to go in the yard and stuff, but it was so well done and it looked so good. You were able to like look past the kind of graininess, and it sounds stupid, but it's like you kind of felt like you were there, right? And those are what the best VR games do. They help blur that line between like reality and game, and Elite Dangerous is one that does that incredibly well with the Oculus. Even the DK2, one that playing Elite Dangerous for me without the DK2 now is really hard because it it made you feel like you were in the cockpit of your ship. It was crazy. And those are the games that I think are going to start changing people's minds when it comes to VR once people start getting them in their hands. It's like Ryan said, you're going to get like press a button, get a hot dog games, but there's going to be the ones that are just kind of change everybody's opinion. And I hope it sweeps. Like, I hope it becomes a huge thing.
The thing that frustrates me about VR is actually like it's kind of on both sides of the spectrum. People who are really evangelical about VR can be kind of annoying sometimes. Yes. The way that they're like, everything's going to be VR. This is the future, like the only future of this medium.
I follow one or two people on Twitter that do that.
But it is a testament to how transformative it can be to actually experience VR, that it can turn people into that pretty easily. But then on the other side, people who are like, well, you know, it's $800, so it'll never take off. And if it doesn't take off immediately, it'll die. You know, some technology is like that. But at the same time, you know, how many of us had like 4x3 TVs in 1998 and then flat screens came out that were smaller and they were like $5,000 each? People were like, why would I? My current TV is bigger than that right now and way cheaper. Why would I ever buy a flat screen? Right. Now it's like 10 years later, you can get a flat screen TV that's 16:9 for $300, and people are like, why? How did we ever survive on 4x3? You know, all it has to do is get like some level of traction to the point where people are like, it has value, I guess. And then if it can become an accessory as opposed to like a major luxury item purchase, then I think that it could actually, I think that it could take off. I don't think in 2016 everybody's going to be buying VR headsets, but I think in 5 or 10 years, it could be the kind of thing that people are like, yeah, you know, for my PC, I have an Xbox 360 controller, or like a wired controller, and I have 3 monitors, and I have my VR headset.
Yep.
I'm surprised we have to do this little talk so often, because we've gone through the adoption process for every other method of hardware that we've gotten to up until this point. Mm-hmm. So why is everyone so skeptical about each new one every single time, instead of seeing that this is an iterative process we've been partaking in for years?
It's just people are scared of change. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
I get the skepticism, and I feel like part of it is valid, and part of it is like a fear of missing out sort of thing, where you're like, well, you know, what percentage of the population has $1,000 that they can spend on a video game related purchase? And like the overlap between people that are that interested in games and also have that kind of disposable income is probably pretty low. So like I can understand the skepticism, but at the same time, I think it is one of the things that I mean, I don't know about you guys. When I played Wii Bowling, I was like, this is cool, but I wasn't like, every game should be like this.
Right. I actively was subverting people who were saying that because it pissed me the hell off. I didn't want games that were all motion.
Yeah.
It takes away from many games to have them be motion, and I believe the same would be the case for virtual reality. I don't want everything that way. It wouldn't make any sense for some games.
The difference, like looking and just reading chat and seeing the response, someone says, look how innovative the Kinect look, and it's completely shit. The difference is like, no one got to play with the Kinect before it came out and realized it was shit. The VR has been in people's hands for years now, and people have said this is really good.
It's also a totally different premise.
True, Kinect... but like technology, like different technology and stuff. Like the Kinect never had that adoption phase where people were like, "Oh, this is really good. Just wait till you get your hands on it." No, it was like, here comes a new thing, and then it was out, and it's like, it's shit.
I bought the Kinect bundle for my parents that came with whatever it wasn't Kinect Sports, but it was like Kinect River Rafting Adventures demo disc, you know, Kinect Adventures, I think it was called. And, you know, as you were playing it, you were not made a believer of the Kinect. You were just like, yeah, it does an okay job of like, I can point at a target and like pop the bubble. But like when you're in a VR experience that's actually good, it's different. Yeah. You're not like, this technology works, I guess that's kind of cool. You're like, this is actually changing the way that I experience the game in a way that's positive. I mean, have you ever tried to use the menu on the Kinect? It's a fucking train wreck. Like,
yep.
And this VR is actually, I mean, it's a shitty way to frame an argument. But once you experience it, and I think if you experience it properly, it's different. There will be shit VR games. Like I'm not interested in putting on a headset and going on a roller coaster.
Right.
But that is more like the Kinect style of thing.
Right.
Whereas the VR, okay, mostly what I'm talking about is fantastic contraption. It is transformative.
Yep.
Was it really not that transparent for people that Kinect was just a gimmick? I mean, iToy was a gimmick. If you go back even further, the Duck Hunt Light Zapper was a gimmick. The track and field pad that you run on was a gimmick.
What gave people hope about Kinect, and me being one of those people, admittedly, was, and at the time I should have realized, but, you know, seeing stuff like Peter Molyneux doing these demos.
He was literally the only case to be made, though. Where else could you cite?
But that was what got me. I was like, oh, if this is possible with the Kinect, what else is possible? But again, we didn't have
possible.
But then, like a year later at like E3, people actually got hands-on with Milo, and they're like, it kind of recognized the color of my shirt, and that's something. But it wasn't what people were expecting it to be. And the other thing VR is going to be able to do, VR has applications far beyond just gaming as well. This is something that I think we're going to see be adapted to other things over time, whether it just be relaxation time. So, all right, I'm going to go chill on a beach like for like 20 minutes and just relax for a little while. Like, those options are there. It'll be exciting to see what happens. I really do.
He sold us such a line of shit.
And I bought it hook, line, and sinker,
like
man.
They had the camera. They were like, "You're gonna hold up your shirt, right? And then it's gonna get zapped into Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, and then you're gonna be able to put it up on the marketplace and earn Microsoft points to buy arcade games."
Do you remember
None of that shit happened?
Do you remember the ad where like it was two girls talking, and it's like, "What dress should I wear today, Sally?" And Sally was like, "Oh, I don't know this. How about this one?" And she like swipes over like a pink dress onto her, and she's like looking at the screen, she's like, "That looks pretty good on me." Like, that is not...
It's your virtual Microsoft wardrobe, and you're flipping through all the different things you could wear and putting together a dress or whatever.
Man.
Evening. We have to stop buying into this bullshit. This is exactly... It's propaganda, so we buy whatever they're selling later, and that's as far as it goes.
Yep.
They just never made any of it.
And the difference with VR is people have had their hands on it for years, and there's proof that it works. And
And the concept is interesting and good. The other concept is shallow and superficial at best. Sorry, Ryan, I keep...
No, it's all good. It keeps getting lumped in with stuff like 3D movies and motion controls.
It's not the same.
But this is like, it's obviously those are a little gimmicky, and very few games actually use them in a way that was meaningful. But I kind of feel like it's also like, you could make that argument if we were living in like the era of silent films, and you'd be like, films with sound are just going to use it to scare you, or they're just going to use it to like communicate stuff that's like, you don't have the subtlety of silent films once you start putting the sound in them. And this is not to say that silent films are even bad, or that VR would be that level of like a revolution, but I think you've got to give it more of a chance. Like, this is not watching like Gravity, and then a fucking like asteroid flies in front of your face and you're like, whoa. Or at least it doesn't have to be.
I mean, those exist clearly, but
yes, there will be a lot of that on VR, and especially now that it's in like its demo phase, you know. That, of course, not to shit talk Bear, but like the Gear VR, like sit on a mushroom and watch TV. That is what that strikes me as. But I can't stress enough that in Fantastic Contraption, you are in the world building stuff with your hands. And it's like meaningfully different than actually building it
with like
a
mouse.
Controller. Yeah, you're like reaching out and grabbing stuff and getting tactile feedback. And you're not interfacing with the game like through a controller. You are actually like in the game.
When you grab something with the wand, does it like vibrate or anything?
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna say it's tactile.
It gives you a little bit of like a tactile feedback there. And when you like stick stuff together, I mean, it's just vibrations, but
it's better than nothing though.
But it's like a thump and then like a buzz, or like the variety you can make with that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it is on a level, I think, a lot different to actually feel like you're grabbing physical objects than manipulating like a left analog stick and pressing A on it. Like it just feels more one-to-one, which is really cool.
I think for the majority, like it'll be a few years, but I think eventually people will realize it's more than just a gimmick. And I think the everybody I've talked to who have gotten their hands on it in some way have said like, all right, yeah, no, this is like the real deal.
Yeah. Maybe it's like fool's mate, but I feel like you can somehow articulate that it's not a gimmick if you try hard enough, and I just haven't figured out what the right way is to do it.
It's the same thought process of being like, well, I can convince him the PS4 is better than the Xbox One if I just type it correctly.
Mine actually has a real answer. Yours is not objective.
Well, we'll see soon. Nick, you're going to be getting your Oculus very soon, I think, right?
Hopefully next month, if it actually shows up. I don't know what the real time schedule is.
Revisit this next month then. I'm excited for you because I will not have one for a little while. So let me know how it is. I'm actually really excited to hear how the consumer version holds up. So
Can you imagine if I never did let you know how it is?
I probably would
That'd be
just
that
wait.
would be so weird.
I'd just wait.
Yeah.
I'll never talk about it again. I'll just quietly
You
go
just
off.
show up in the podcast with it on, but never acknowledge
Never
the fact,
acknowledge it.
and just talk to us with the VR headset on.
And in the headset is the Skype chat that
Yep.
we're talking to.
And just like, this is my life now. I'm permanently here.
It's a bullshit argument, but I also believe it that don't knock it till you try it. In
You're
this
saying
case,
I have a sunk cost fallacy. Come on.
Don't get involved.
Most of the people in chat who are saying that have not tried it. I feel relatively confident in saying.
Yeah.
Nick bought it. He's gonna try it. If it sucks, I'm sure Nick's gonna come back and be like, "This is a piece of shit. That there's nothing to play with
That just
right
does
now."
not work on me anyway. I don't care about that.
Listen, Nick does not hold
Cost
back.
doing business.
Nick hates Pokemon. It happens.
I don't hate
So-
Pokemon.
He does love his Nvidia Shield, though.
Yeah, and I talk about it constantly. It's the best. It's not a very good product.
VR stuff coming soon to a store near you. Let's move on to Hitman Beta. I haven't played it. Hitman Beta came and went for the PC.
I bought these for $60. I never used them.
Mm.
The Gunner glasses.
Sweet.
The Hitman Beta, yeah, that ran last weekend. Nick and I played it. There's technically 3 missions, 2 of which are functionally pretty similar, like almost exactly the same. And I think Nick's impression of it being like a Ground Zero-y thing is probably maybe even a little bit of a compliment as a standalone
I
product.
don't know where you're gonna go with that.
It was I blasted through the beta in like 45 minutes and was like I played through a couple of the levels multiple times and I was like it's Hitman. It's fairly
So,
absolution-y.
That was gonna be, before we got to like deep into it, my question is gonna be, does it feel any different in any way to Absolution?
It's been like 3 years, so
Right.
I
True.
can't remember fully, but I definitely was able to, on a couple of missions, just like put on like a dude's shirt and then just walk over to a dude and shoot him in the head and then
walk
run
away.
Yeah, not walk away. but
Run away to your car. Got it. So the
yeah.
thing we were kind of talking about, worrying about it a little bit, like,
To some extent, it strikes me as a game, at least in its beta form, that doesn't really force you to play Hitman in the way that most people like to play Hitman. And if you have like the self-discipline to play it in the Blood Money-esque way, there were some cool things. I don't know about you, Nick. Nick, I rigged up that jet fighter so that the ejection seat blew the dude sky high when he got in.
That sounds neat. I think
That
there's
was-
very, very specific moments where there's kind of cool synergies that can happen. I, of course, being me, chose to play it in the stupidest ways possible and didn't try to proceed through the game and instead spent 2 hours on the training mission just breaking everything. I feel that that's a useful thing to do, though, because it lets you see what the boundaries of the AI really are, and I found a lot of limitations in it, and I felt like it really was not anything better than I've ever played in other Hitman games. For example, I found a bathroom very early in the first level. You walk into it, there's a dude before that, snap his neck, drag him in there, just start shooting cops. Like, it just doesn't shoot everybody you want to, get the alert level as high as you can manage, just walk in the bathroom. They'll find their way in there, kill them one by one. It's a choke point. You cannot be killed. Eventually, I eliminated every force for good in that entire world, and I was able to just choke out anyone I wanted in plain sight because no one was there to stop me anymore. So I feel like that's kind of a weird limitation. I became invincible.
I'm surprised they didn't. Yeah, that sounds unfortunate. That does not sell me so far.
It was not difficult to do either. Like, it was formulaic. I would wait by the door. They'd walk in, always facing the same direction, grab them
Right.
behind, snap their neck, put them down on the ground. Eventually, there were so many dead police officers, it broke the door hinge because they were clogging up the door, which was kind of unfortunate because then I couldn't hide anymore. But they just kept walking through the door, and then I just kept killing them there. And then they would slowly wrap up all the dead people's bodies in body bags if they were out of my line of sight. So then I would start dragging the body bags towards other police officers, and they'd be like, "What are you doing over there?" And then they'd come run after me, go back in the bathroom again, and kill them too. So, you know, I played it in the stupidest possible way. I didn't see much noteworthy or special about it personally, but I also didn't think it was awful either if you're looking for that.
I would say that the beta, it didn't really make me more excited about the impending release of Hitman. I mean, it comes out next month, which is pretty soon.
Right.
The levels, I also felt like, I mean, it was the prologue, so this is to be expected to some extent, but it's all we saw. Even the like actual level that was at the end was really small. Like,
really.
the mission was probably like maybe 10 minutes long if you did it. I mean, they heavily like put you on a track. They're like, hey, what if you like put on this uniform and go get the guy and then go to the airplane? It'll be weird. But it seemed like there was a little bit less like sandboxy stuff, but maybe they're just trying to tell you what the sandboxy stuff is so that they actually like get that out there, I guess. Like it struck me, that level struck me as like a demo you'd play at PAX, and you'd be like, okay, you kind of get like a vertical slice of the game. You can brute force your way as Nick did. That's actually like super valid. Like I was able to do that on the training level a couple of times. Not kill everybody, but just go in guns blazing. Yeah. Which is basically how I played Absolution. Is like, lay a plan, and then when it fails, just shoot your way out. But,
right.
I would say like it didn't necessarily make me super optimistic about the future of Hitman, but I'm still kind of like on the fence, I guess.
Did you have trouble with understanding when you were vulnerable to being caught or not? Because I really didn't understand when I did something wrong, whether or not they'd see through it.
Yeah, I guess to some extent.
What I mean more specifically is I would steal a cop's outfit, right? So I'm now a police officer, yet sometimes they would just decide I was bad without any reason. Like I didn't have my gun out, I was just walking, and they would just be like, oh, it's the guy, and then I'd have to run, and I didn't do anything. So was that a bug maybe, or it's weird?
I don't like that it... I mean, this is a dumb criticism, I guess, to some people, but like, I don't like that it sounds like you can actually, like, the game gives you the option to just, like, throw a shirt on and just run in and kill somebody and run out. Because, for the most part, most people are going to find the easiest way to complete a mission, not be creative, and then, blast through the game or blast through a level very, very quickly. Yeah. That was one of the big problems with Assassin's Creed, right? Like, they tried to be like, it's a stealth game, sneak in, assassinate your target, sneak out, but it became very clear very quickly that you could just run in and just, like, literally kill everybody because everybody's too stupid, and that's what most players ended up doing, like, running in, fighting, killing everyone, then killing your target, and then leaving. I feel like a game like this, they want you to be a hitman, to be an assassin, whatever game we're talking about, should put obstacles in your way that force you to, not force you in one direction, but force you to make choices to be sneakier. Because I feel like it ruins the game to be like, Joe, you're dead, yellow shirt, all right, now nobody recognizes me, run up, pop them, run away, done. And that, players for the most part will always look for the easiest solution. If you don't put obstacles in the way of the player, there is no reason for them not to do that.
And that's kind of where I found myself not enjoying the beta that much, because I am that kind of player who, like, in my head, I'm like, well, it would be a really cool story if I, like, knocked out the chef, put on the chef's outfit, they brought in some food, and then I poisoned the food, and then later it gets served to the dude somehow or something like that. And maybe you can do that, but at the same time, I'm also like, I could throw a hammer at the chef's head, knock him out, put him in the freezer, steal his outfit, and then just go shoot the dude in the face and run to my car. And then, like, I can get close enough to him to do that and make it happen. I guess what normally where stealth games will throw in something that makes that impossible is you have to, like, not be suspected or suspicious to actually finish the mission. But in at least the training missions of Hitman, even if they were, like, actively pursuing you, you basically just ran to your car, and if you could get to your car before they shot you, then you win, which was kind of just like, I mean, there should be, like, a car chase or something now if we're doing it like that, but I get that it's an abstraction of, like, a level exit zone.
Right.
But at the same time, it kind of cheapened it, where I was like, there's an incentive to being stealthy on the way in, because it's way easier to get to the target if you are not suspected, like if they don't know that you're aggro, basically. But if you are on the way out, as long as you can just run in such a way that you, like, break line of sight occasionally, you're gonna live and finish it. And it did kind of cheapen the experience, I think.
They do reward you and incentivize you for playing creatively. I remember there was a bunch of challenges for doing certain things. They give you, like, these Semtex explosives, and they're like, well, if you use these, you get some points, and if you take out this certain guy or do this certain move, then, good things happen. I didn't really care, though. I was just more about the objective that they wanted you to really accomplish.
I mean, that was the bonus they gave you in Absolution, was just, like, higher score. But, like, I haven't cared about a high score since I was, like, 6 on the NES. Like, high scores is not an incentive for me personally to play a certain way.
Until they give you a leaderboard, and then all of a sudden it is. Look at the Binding of Isaac dailies.
Those are fun. See, Binding of Isaac dailies for me are fun though because I get to compete against like my friends, and it's like it's a different kind
That's what
of
I mean
thing.
by leaderboard. Yeah, you need to have friends on.
But like, I
leaderboard.
don't know if I'd give enough of a shit about Hitman to compete against you guys because we're not going to go back and do the same level over and over again to get higher scores. We're just going to go play Isaac when we're done.
Tomb Raider had leaderboards. Did you guys see those while you were raiding tombs?
Nope.
No?
Not really. Just Cause
they-
had some. Bear beat me at everything.
Every time I popped into an area, it was like, yo, check it out. Here's your friend's scores on this area. And I'm like, all right. Cool. That's kind of how I see Hitman.
They never told me what my scores were, so I never knew I was even competing.
So, I mean, I also think the story was like kind of bad in the prologue.
We didn't expect anything else though, did we?
I don't know. Maybe each time they make a new one is a new chance for them to make a good story or something.
Did
but I
the
didn't
stream
get
just
with
go
this.
down? Are you fucking serious? All right, we're back. All right, I
Yeah.
want to throw an apology out there. My internet is, for some reason or another, just not cooperating with me today. I don't know what's causing it. I will mess with it after we get off the stream, so I apologize. I seriously wish I could do something about it. I just have no control over it. So we're going to finish discussing the last game, which I don't even know how much we have to talk about it, but outside of that, we'll end up wrapping up the stream properly, at least. I apologize massively to all you guys. We'll see what we can get done before my internet shits itself again.
And the audio listeners, our apologies to you as well, because there's been a bunch of non-content going on throughout this too.
It's been a messy podcast day. I apologize. So Hitman Beta, we'll say you guys said you're like you're kind of on it right now.
It's like I probably wouldn't play it again unless I did it in a silly way. Like
Okay.
I would enjoy maybe messing around with it, but I doubt I would play through to finish it like I would with Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Makes
I'm going
sense.
to give it a shot. It does compare very poorly to Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Okay.
Like the stuff that Rise of the Tomb Raider does well, Hitman doesn't really do well. But they are very different kinds of games, and it didn't like unsell me on it. It just I'm like a little bit more pessimistic about its chances now, I guess.
I don't mean to shit on it too much harder, but I had to notice the fact that they went out of their way to make these huge crowds, yet they like didn't animate 90% of the crowds. I thought that
really?
was really weird. I did a couple of little short clips, and you'll see there's like two people interacting in a weird way, and then like 40 people behind them standing perfectly still, and a couple of them swaying back and forth. If you're gonna bother to put all those people in there, like you gotta move them around a little bit. I understand it's a level of distance thing. Like I guess they put like low poly models that they didn't animate further away, but like you gotta build that into the technology if you're gonna do that right, because it just looks really disjointed then, right?
Yeah.
It's also like I don't know if this is a valid explanation, but it's a training mission, so they kind of are like, hey, these are just paid actors or like androids
You can
or
shoot in
something
the
like
face, yeah.
yeah, it's meant to be sort of like a simulation.
Yeah,
But I agree with you. It didn't
That's an
feel very
excuse.
rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, compared to like even like the Mardi Gras level from Blood Bunny, it just felt very static. I mean, there were like 8 enemies on the facility mission that I remember. And the facility mission was like the long mission. But
Right.
Anyway.
Well, that's Hitman Beta. We'll see how it ends up being next month. It is not too far away, so they don't have much time to really improve too much out of what they already have, at least for episode 1. So we'll see what ends up coming. The last game we want to talk about is SUPERHOT, which just released. It is 20 on Steam, I believe.
25.
25 on Steam.
23 and change with the discount, 10% off.
We'll I'm almost done with it. I'm told it's only a couple hours long. And Nick, did you beat it?
I finished it in one sitting,
And
easily.
Ryan, did you play it at all?
I haven't played it yet, no.
Okay. So far, I really like it. For those who don't know what SUPERHOT is, it's kind of like this mix of first-person shooter, puzzle, time manipulation game, where time doesn't move unless you move, and you can see enemies shooting their bullets. So like you can see the bullets coming at you, you can move out of their way, and each level, in my opinion, is kind of presented like a puzzle. How do you kill all the enemies without being hit by their bullets as they're shooting at you? It also allows you to feel really kind of like this amazing like super spy, because like at the end when you beat a level, it'll play the level back in normal time, so you get to see all the cool shit you did at a normal speed. It also has this really weird sci-fi subliminal messaging story
Illuminati
going on.
business,
Illuminati, like we're always watching you. You have no control whether you think you do or not. Like you are ours essentially. And I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's ever going to be fully explained, but what I've played so far is really visceral and really fun, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot.
My way of setting up the pitch is imagine a first-person Hotline Miami, but in the world of Mirror's Edge with even less colors.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I think mechanically it's an extremely fun game.
Yep.
The stuff you're hitting on with the story, though, is not really worth pursuing as far as like the main attraction. The main attraction.
Oh, really? They kind of leave it alone?
It's just, no, I mean, they finish it, but it's just
Okay.
superficial as hell. It just
All
isn't
right.
very interesting. But there's a lot of stuff that plays off the theme that they set up, and the theme in itself is rich enough to support what turns out to be the series of folders that you can interact with. There's like all these little supplementary bits of art and stuff that you can try. There's a couple of little mini games. There's Tree Dude, which I played a lot last night. It's just this game where you like hit left and right, and then it cuts the left or the right side of the tree, and you have to not get the tree to hit you in the head. It's just really
Interesting.
silly stuff like that. And they position it as you're a hacker who has been given access to a pirated copy of this game, SUPERHOT, and you're in this chat room with this other person, and eventually the game SUPERHOT gets you so addicted that you become like pulled into the universe of it, and then it starts to overwrite the things you say to your friend that gave you the pirated copy. It
Yeah,
doesn't change anything about the game.
You're
It's
right
just-
in that it's all about the
stuff.
gameplay and getting through each level. Like one of the cool, the level that's sticking out for me right now because I just played it not too long ago was the level starts out with a car coming at you, and you just get to jump. You get to jump on the car, jump off the car, kill a guy, take his gun, turn around, shoot that guy, throw your gun at somebody else. Like it's all about those cool moments presented in a puzzle game-ish way, like just trying to figure it all out. When you finally get it done, you feel badass. Look, what have you done? What have you done? God.
For the audio listeners, I wrote, "Damn, that's some good shit right there." And then I put a DE Illuminati triangle in between each word, and now that is
Literally
basically like
chat.
100% of what chat is, which is pretty sweet. I'm having a good time with it.
You are controlling them. It is
Pretty
the
much,
Illuminati. You have controlled them. I'm with Nick though that the mechanics are really what sells it. And I've already some speedrunners that I follow are already trying to route the game. They like it they like it a lot
Yeah,
as a
it
quick.
looks like a speed bait is what I've heard it called.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. And I haven't had a level that really hasn't been fun. I like there's one level where you start out in a bathroom and you just punch this guy in the back of the head until he dies over the toilet. Then this guy comes running in and you punch him. You run out to this bar, guy's shooting at you with a shotgun.
Yeah.
You grab like a pool ball, you throw it at him, run up, grab his shotgun. It's made of cool moments that is fun to do. I like it a lot.
The main campaign I found to be very easy. The only level that made me start over many times was the very, very end.
Okay.
But there's a lot of unlockable stuff beyond it, which is, again, why I think the story super doesn't matter. It's about the gameplay mechanics.
And there's an endless mode too, right? When
There's
you
an
unlock?
endless mode where you can go through a bunch of preset levels. Guys keep coming in. As long as you can survive, you keep getting counters for each kill. It gets harder and harder, sort of like waves, I guess. There's a variety of challenges involving using only certain weapons to go through mostly all the game. Varieties of other things like that. And they unlock other stuff too. So it's got like cascading unlocks. Even through that, though, I have to wonder, is there that much content? I mean, it seems like there's not a lot of areas to be in general, and I found it not to be a huge, massive departure from the original early access or whatever we want to call it, the alpha pre-release version.
What was it? It was made for a jam, right?
7-day FPS game jam, I think
Okay.
in 2013, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I had initially gotten exposed to the thing, and I thought it was a great mechanic then. I think it's a great mechanic now. If you weren't exposed to that version of it, you should probably buy it if you like that kind of gameplay. But it's probably not for everybody also, and I acknowledge that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's for everybody. I keep forgetting Ryan hasn't played. I'm like, he's silent.
I will play it because it's short
It
and
is
I like Hotline Miami and it looks cool.
It's all the levels are preset though, right? Like the enemies are not randomly generated like in Hotline Miami 2. Not randomly generated, but like
Yeah, no, it's predictably scripted.
yeah, which is better in my opinion.
It's actually really fun. Well, number one, it has to be for speedrunners.
Yeah.
Number two, when you get to a level you're really stuck on, you'll eventually start to intuitively play it in normal speed, which feels really cool. Like, I knew this guy was going to be to my left, so I punched the guy next to him, grabbed the pistol, shoot the guy on the left, back up and to the right. Then the guy with the shotgun goes past my face there, and I've got it all mapped out in my head already. So doing that scripted really fast is really cool.
And that's why I love it. It's so cool to be able to pull these things off, and it just feels badass. I love it. Though hearing super hot over and over again does get a little annoying at the end of every level.
Yeah,
But
I guess so.
super hot is available right now. You can go and grab it. You said 25. It's $25.
Yeah, 25.
$25. I think it's discounted right now for its elite release. You right there, Ryan?
Tomo just meowed outside of my room, and then I opened the door, and he threw up all over the floor.
Nice.
Tomo, you okay, buddy?
All right. Well, that ends all of
it
our.
looks like he mostly threw up in his mouth and then ate it. So
God.
that's
God.
Oh God. That's all our topics and games for today. We can now move on to everybody's favorite section, Ask Roundtable. Today's question comes from a guy named Q. Q asks, what do you all think about games from the good old days? Like, are precedent-setting games, Legend of Zelda, Mario, really the best games that have ever come out? Or do we just look at the first games with rose-tinted goggles? Wouldn't it follow that games get better as time goes on? Sincerely, Q. Any one of you can pick this one up to start. I feel like we're all going to have a very similar answer for this, though. In that, I could start, in that, yeah, of course we're looking back on these games with rose-tinted goggles, and to say that these games are the best ever is wrong. We're looking at them as in they're genre-defining or genre-creating in some aspects, and that's what makes them so important. Like, Mario, outside of being one of the first mostly successful games ever, it basically was one of the, if not the reason platformers became as popular as they are. I feel like, am I wrong?
I feel like the first game in a franchise is not usually the best one.
Correct.
I feel like they eventually maybe they come out with something that is like a betrayal. Like the first one is usually pretty good, and then the second one or one later down the line is like the masterpiece, and then it starts to maybe decline. Like Metroid is okay. Super Metroid is amazing.
Don't forget, Return of Samus is pretty bad.
Is that the Game Boy
That's
one?
the Game Boy
That's
one.
technically
That was
Metroid 2, right?
Metroid 2, yeah.
Right, yeah. Super Mario Brothers is a classic. Super Mario World is a masterpiece. You know, original Zelda, I think Nick has a little bit of a controversial opinion on this.
Maybe.
But I find original Zelda not that good. Stuff like Ocarina of Time is considered, hallmarks of the medium. So, or, for me, it would be more a Link to the Past, I guess. That is the touchstone there. So I feel like usually they get better as they go along, up to a point at least.
I feel like you've got to separate the gameplay conventions from the games themselves at times, because gameplay conventions usually get iterated upon and built upon, whereas the games themselves becomes not obsolete, but not as interesting sometimes when faced with better, more polished, more smoothed out. I mean, if you take the example of Zelda, or maybe any other RPG, actually, because the one point I was going to make does not apply to that one. Imagine an RPG that you're meant to sit in front of for maybe 5 or 6 hours, or even 10 or 20 hours, and it doesn't have a save function. What are you going to do? You're going to put in a 40-character password every time? That's really stupid. But that's a limitation of hardware. That's a thing that gets polished, that gets iterated upon and fixed, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Not saying the original thing is broken, but it didn't have the ability. So you take that content, you take that concept, and you move it into a newer thing, and all of a sudden, well, now you've got what could be the golden age of things that work properly and are entertaining. You've got to find that confluence of the art style, the gameplay, all of the different things hitting at the same time. The controls have to be responsive, all that stuff. So back in the day, not all those things happened.
Right.
Still good games, not saying they're not, but they could be better in some ways that are functionally improvable.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, we'll find, there are some people out there, but I don't think those games, as the question is asked, are the best games ever created. But I think for reasons that are stated there, that there's a reason they are revered or looked.
They were necessary.
Necessary,
for sure.
yeah. That's
You
a
got
good
to
way of
start
putting
the
it.
iteration somewhere.
Yep. And it continues today. I mean, Assassin's Creed 1 cannot compare to Assassin's Creed 2. I think Assassin's Creed 2 was probably the best of the franchise, but it wouldn't have existed without Assassin's Creed 1, which was like the first in trying to do what it did within its genre. So I think it's a good question. I just don't think any of us think that those games are the best that exist, but necessary for sure. Thank you for the question, Q.
And please ask us more questions.
over at
Yes.
roundtableyt@gmail.com. Send in your questions. They do get looked at, and Bear does pick them. So feel free to send them over. Give him some love notes as well. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. But make sure there's a good question involved with that email. And maybe your question will be featured in next week's podcast. After that, it's everybody's favorite section after everybody's favorite section, which is Nick's Weird Games. As long as the internet doesn't shit out on us, we'll have a Nick's Weird Games segment.
It would never.
I heard today's was suggested, Nick?
Oh yeah, Dan did tell us on the show yesterday we should just do the Oompa Loompa theme song.
Oh, there you go. Oh, the song was requested. Okay, I'm down with it. All right, Nick, go grab your weird game, and we'll do
Okay.
Oompa Loompa Nick's Weird Games.
Okay. I forgot it was
It's
like
Oompa Loompa.
well, I know how the song
I mean,
goes,
come
man.
on.
It's-
Oh, you had
it was
words
like-
prepared?
Yeah.
All right,
It's
all
like,
right.
Tecmo Koei Interplay 2. Nick's got a game from 2002. Have you ever heard of this shit? If it's a JRPG, I will quit. This is a game only released in Japan. It sold way less copies than the latest Wu-Tang Clan album. And that only sold one. You have never heard of this.
Oh, I like that part.
No, that was a good one.
Return to the show. Have you heard of this game? I would say no.
That was
I
one
only
of your
caught the end,
best.
but well done.
That was one of your best ones ever.
Um,
And I'm glad the internet didn't shit on me for
He
that.
knocked out a fantastic one on the NLSS yesterday too.
Yeah, that
so,
was pretty good.
yeah, the Oompa Loompa one. Good call. All right, we good?
I'm ready. Let me
Alright.
hide chat. Hang on. I'll be.
Oh yes.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. Today's game
Ready.
came out on not the PS2, if you can believe that.
Okay.
Xbox and Microsoft Windows. We're talking a North American release of October 24th, 2005.
Okay.
And we've got a developer called Headfirst Productions, published
nice.
by Bethesda Softworks, distributed by 2K Games.
Bethesda.
So this is going to narrow you already a little bit. We're talking about a
It's-
survival horror game today.
Oh, okay. Survival horror. I was like,
Condemned.
Bethesda, I think, did a Star Trek game back
Not
in.
Condemned, no.
Fear.
Fear.
Fear 1.
Fear 2.
No.
Fear
Oh,
3.
just keep saying fear game.
Can we get more?
Yeah. Is on the original Xbox 05
Yes, correct.
Only the original Xbox?
Correct.
and Microsoft Windows.
Yes.
2K.
Also, in addition to survival horror, you could also classify this as a first-person shooter, single player only.
Oh, first person, that gets rid of the guess I had in my head.
This Call of Cthulhu game.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Cthulhu, Dark Mysteries of the Cthulhu.
Dark
Monsters.
Corners of the Earth, or whatever.
That's the one. Dark
Yeah.
Corners of the Earth.
Hey,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
did it!
We did it. We did it. Good job,
I'm
everybody.
really glad that you got it there because the hints I had to give you there after that were really close to just saying the name of it.
Cthulhu.
I
Yeah.
was
Ascend
going to
into
give you
an
the
eldritch
Shadow
nightmare.
of Innsmouth.
One of the games I always wanted to play, but never got to play, actually. I hear it was pretty okay.
Let's see. Yeah, it actually was pretty okay, and I believe it's also coming to Xbox One backward compatibility, maybe?
It's random. Didn't they announce a new Cthulhu game, actually?
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of that. I know there was a Cthulhu thing recently. I figured it was this. I see Mountain and Stream might be the first person that got it here. There was a couple people guessing. I don't know, do you take Call of Cthulhu or something, or someone who just says Call of Cthulhu?
Call of Cthulhu or something? I have no idea.
To be fair, I would not have gotten the subtitle. Mathis threw in the subtitle there.
Yeah.
But you hit you get most points, Ryan, because I wasn't quite
I'll
there.
take 0.6 and you can take 0.4.
I'll take it. I'm looking at
I
a
don't know
new.
when- There's the image if anyone can see it.
Yep, I remember. I always wanted to play it, but I never did.
The back's pretty gnarly looking. It's got some like frog monsters. You're shooting them with rifles. There's like a dude that's all torn apart with hoses coming out of him.
Hell yeah.
There's a dude that looks like he hasn't slept in about 5 months. It looks a little like Mathis, actually.
Hey, that's not nice, Nick. That's not nice.
I don't know if you can
It
see
said
it.
a man who hasn't slept in 5 months, not a man who has slept for
4 to
5
5
months.
months.
There's a new Cthulhu game coming out for this gen of consoles, supposedly. I'm down.
Console?
Genesis,
Console
actually,
don't
the
want
Genesis.
none.
Did you play it, Nick, or no? Did you play it like all the way through?
No, I didn't.
Did
I've sampled it, and I didn't play very long, and I want to return to it at some point.
Is it on Steam?
I think it is actually. Yeah,
I think so too.
double check.
Call of Cthulhu, because it's one of those games that, like, for most part, people are like, this is pretty. Yeah, it is $10.
Yeah, it is.
This is pretty good. It's a cool idea. You know, it had some problems, but it wasn't too bad. And I was like, all right, I'm down. But I never got around to it. Yeah, mostly positive. Nice. Well, we get points. Ryan gets let's give Ryan all the points today.
You know,
Ryan,
you're too kind.
you get all the points today for all those
I don't
keeping.
specify who gets them. I just say that you won or I won.
That's fine. Nick is just selfish and cares
Points.
about his points. Who won in chat again? Did you already have that name?
I already said it.
All right, cool, because I forgot it. All right, well, that's gonna end the stream. This is the probably the most technical train wreck stream we've
It was
had.
pretty much a fucking disaster,
Yeah.
cover to cover.
Yep, basically from
And that's
from
cool.
It happens. I apologize. I really, really wish I had control over it, but there was nothing I could do. Thank you guys for joining us. Next week, Bear might be back. I think it's a good chance he's going to be back. If not, we'll have Mr. Fox back on the show. We'll be back at a normal time, normal day. Make sure you check out the Patreon, patreon.com/roundtable. You fund this train wreck of a stream, so thank you. We appreciate it. You can also check out the subreddit over at reddit.com/r/roundtable podcast, iTunes, SoundCloud, and on YouTube, select YouTube channels. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Later.